Hello and welcome to Xena Warrior Podcast. My name is Vera and I'm joined, as always, by my two unconquerable co-hosts, Katie.
Hello.
And Livy.
Hi.
To a strong Amazon nation, you guys.
To a strong Amazon
To a
nation.
strong Amazon nation. Wah, wah.
That's how we should have ended it.
Oh,
we should be like, to a strong Amazon
We should have been
nation.
super hyped at the beginning and
Yes.
But I think we
It's
should
gonna
do
be
it in reverse. I want to be hyped by the end.
Okay, great. Yes, we can do this. Yes. We are at a big one.
Yes.
For me personally, but for, I don't know, maybe other people as well. I think we all enjoy
Oh, yeah.
the episode that we're at.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is,
We've been hyping it for weeks.
yeah, I mean, if not years. I feel like, honestly,
we have. Because
honestly, yeah, because in the season one, I'm positive I was like putting pins in for
Yeah,
this.
well, all through certainly our discussion of the price in season 2, we referenced Helicon a lot, and now that we're at Helicon, I'm like, oh, Helicon references the price, so it made sense that we were sticking in all those pins.
All right. Wow, I'm so excited to talk about this. So, I mean, we can begin and talk about what this episode is homaging and what this episode is.
Yeah.
All right, let me do my intro. I mean, it's just like what we're on, 6:15, to
yes.
Helicon and Back.
Okay.
And this one is written by, guess who's back?
Yes.
Back again.
Hey,
Liz Friedman's back. She brought a
Yes.
friend. Actually, it's Eminem.
Oh,
Not Backstreet.
I don't know music.
But Liz Friedman and Vanessa Place wrote this episode.
Excellent.
And I forgot about that, and I was very surprised to see it.
I know, Liz Friedman.
Yeah, and it's
Writing the best.
super good.
Right, her previous credit, she did the story for
Family
a family
Affair.
affair.
Yeah,
That's right.
she's very good.
That's a pretty
very,
amazing.
very good.
And of course, directed by Michael Hurst. And this is like his, I don't know, magnum opus.
Yeah.
Like,
I think I'm
Yeah.
going to change his name to Michael Mouthblood Hurst.
Oh, yes.
That is his
yes. He would like that, I
He
think.
would.
You'd say probably more mouth blood.
Yes.
Vera, did you see in the interviews, he said that the crew just at one point gave up and just gave him his own personal bottle of blood so he could run around to the actors being like, mouth blood,
Oh
you
my
need more
God.
mouth blood for all. I'll take some mouth blood.
He must have been stoked on Spartacus.
Oh my
Oh,
God, right?
God, yeah.
Yeah.
That show was basically made for him to direct.
Well, gosh, where to begin? I mean, this is a Xena Warrior Princess war episode.
Yes.
Maybe let's first talk about the title. It's To Helicon
Sure,
and
to
Back.
Helicon and Back, a reference to Hell and Back, a 1955 movie based on the real life and starring, weirdly, like this is a crazy
Yeah,
thing. but-
this is crazy.
Yeah, this guy, Audie Murphy, not Eddie Murphy, is this super duper war hero from World War II, where he's the most decorated soldier ever.
And he's handsome.
I guess, but that's where I'm
think
like,
so.
he seems fake. Like, he seems like this is an actor playing a guy whose story is completely made up. But like, no, he did so much crazy stuff, and I've actually we have his autobiography here. I've read it.
Yeah, so he went on to star in a movie of his own
life, which is crazy.
Which is, I guess, what they're referencing then in Inglourious Bastards when you have the German war hero who's in a
guess.
movie of himself. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
sure.
it's different 'cause
Sure.
it's Germany.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so this is the title, and there's a lot of other references to big old war movies.
Mostly, maybe entirely World War II
Yes,
movies.
the
That's-
best war to reference. Thanks.
Well, certainly the one with maybe the richest
cinematic
history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Well, yeah, I feel like this is, I mean, we've obviously had episodes of Xena that were battle heavy, but this one to me does somehow feel the most like, the war genre.
I know, which is crazy because previously you had Rome, which is maybe arguably like quite warlike, and you could easily do a lot of references to war with those guys, but yet they chose to do this huge epic one with a bunch of girls, which is phenomenal.
That's why we love it.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, you have the price, which, like I said, I think it has, its shadow is cast over this whole episode because it's basically like a role reversal version of the price with Gabrielle playing Xena's part and Xena playing Gab's.
I guess. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, it's not like it's so a tiny amount. Like, because the price is like about like hatred, xenophobia, like all that stuff. I mean, this is a completely different
there are
type
very different like themes.
Yeah, exactly.
But I feel like the actual roles the characters play and like kind of the points they make about proper conduct during war are weirdly reversed. I mean, not weirdly, it totally makes sense given everything that's happened to the characters. But also A Good Day, which I feel like is kind
Sounds
of
close.
In a way, this is a sequel to A Good Day because there you had Gabrielle wrestling with the early version of these issues, like how do I lead men to their deaths. Here she's how do I lead women to their deaths, and it's a much harder question.
So the big movies that this episode references is something that I guess Rob wanted to homage a movie with John Wayne from 1945 called They Were Expendable, which is interesting because, I don't know, was that movie filmed like while the war is still going?
Yeah, I think
or
so.
like right after?
We watched the trailer for it, and it seems like it had like the participation of the war office.
Like, guys, you're supposed to be like at war. What are you doing making a movie?
I mean, like many movies made from that era.
I know.
The
But
propaganda machine.
but a lot of those movies were like made like I wouldn't say before America was like in it. Maybe am I wrong? I could be wrong. Whatever. But yes.
Well, an aside. Total aside, you can cut this out just while we're on the topic of Hollywood and World War II. We both watched Five Came Back,
yeah,
right?
that's a good...
we recommend it. Yeah, I just want to recommend if you're interested in Hollywood and World War II.
It's very fascinating. It's about the actual studio directors that went and filmed on the front lines.
Yeah. It's also a book.
Another big one that I assume they're referencing, even though I didn't really see anybody name check it in interviews, is The Longest Day, which prior to Saving Private Ryan was like the big D-Day movie that Hollywood had made.
Yeah, but then in comes Spielberg and is like, move over, old timers. I got this. I got this. So yeah, of course, Saving Private Ryan blew everyone away. And
1998.
Yeah, it was the same year as The Thin Red Line, which was crazy.
Oh, right. That was a year for war movies.
Yeah.
They're both great.
But, you know,
so
obviously...
different.
Yeah, so different. One is Terrence Malick.
Yeah.
Shooting shots of leaves with little holes in them. But one is Steven Spielberg.
Shooting people with little holes in them.
Yes, exactly. I mean, to be fair, the Terrence Malick tree, the little leaves represented all the soldiers who were
it's so
strewn
good
with
and
holes.
poetic.
Yes, exactly.
And
it was just
he's
very
coming
poetic.
from a very different place.
Yeah.
Yes, very different place.
filmmaker.
And then there's Spielberg, who's like, I'm doing this. Let's do this.
We're literally invading Normandy.
We're literally going to do it. Yeah. It's quite...
Different themes and moral dilemmas.
It's quite a half hour
both.
of film to watch.
The
That's how long
actual
it is.
invasion.
I mean, it's like something like that, basic. Well, there's like it starts, the beginning kind of like sets you up, and then the actual D-Day is like 20 or...
It's like that, but that whole beach
Something.
sequence that we'll get to is like 20 minutes.
It's
clearly an homage to Private Ryan.
It can't be anything.
No,
but,
it is absolutely 1,000%. Like, I mean, that's what, they were told, like, by Rob. This is what we want to do, make this,
They did.
And Michael Hurst was so excited.
To do this.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean,
I think, we should basically get there, but
Like,
this episode, I believe what the director's cut was 25 minutes too long.
Give me the footage.
I know.
And you can see some of it.
Okay, good.
Really? There you can see just some dailies, not even like deleted scenes, just pure dailies of all
anything
the
interesting that you stumbled in.
Severed hand.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
So there's a lot of like extra gore.
Okay.
Though I first was like reading people talking about it and was like, oh man, this sounds super graphic. And then when you actually watch it, like it's more that you're just getting, because it's dailies, it's just wide shots, unedited, so you just can really just see all the stuff that he put in there, which I don't think even he thought would really like be in the edits.
Got it.
Right.
The amount of dead Amazons he has lying, in every shot is
That's
pretty
fantastic.
pretty incredible.
And he said that he kept those dailies. Like
he's
loves it
really
so much.
proud of them.
He should be.
Yeah,
It's like
it's crazy.
Gonna talk about it for an hour when we get there. Holy shit!
Oh my gosh.
He also said that he shot his own second unit.
Yes, that's how excited he was and how in control he needed to be.
Every single shot in this episode is directed by Michael Hurst, and clearly he's just as excited for the kind of unnamed extras and their deaths than for whatever our main characters are doing.
So, I mean, is there anything else to discuss, or should we get into it?
We can get into it. I mean, I sort of watch just because we're like in a particular cultural moment right now, where like big battle scenes are like in. Battles are in.
Yeah.
Like there was just a really big one on Game of Thrones, which we won't talk about in spoilery detail, but
can I say this was better than that?
Yeah, you can say that.
That's as far as I'm gonna go. But yeah, this was like much better, just for my personal taste.
There was also the giant battle at the end of Avengers. I feel like that's not a spoiler to say that movie ends in a giant battle scene.
Sure.
So like we've had these really ambitious takes on battles, and I feel like this Xena episode, Xena did it first.
It really did.
Is as ambitious as any of these examples in its way. Obviously, it has limited means compared to those other two examples, but the amount of character work it's doing, and just the amount of like, I was like, we joke often like, oh, Xena has 10 stunt people and that's a battle scene, but like there were a lot of extras here. Like the frames are really filled out.
Really
I mean,
good.
you always have the sense that there aren't very many Amazons around, but at the same time, you do believe that this is like enough of a force that it doesn't feel like a skeleton crew.
Yeah, well, they don't have the technology yet to create like the fake Amazons.
They technically do because
Lord
of the Rings is filming
but
right
they
now.
can't take it from them. They're using it.
That's true. They've just developed it. I believe Massive was the name of that. CGI battle tactics from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, and
lots of Lord of the Rings references here. You have Craig Parker.
Right. Who Helm's Deep was like a huge
he's
battle.
literally coming off Helm's Deep. Yeah, and hilariously then Helm's Deep, it was often brought up in conversations about the recent Game of Thrones Battle of Winterfell, which supposedly is like longer even than Helm's Deep. They're both shot at night, so I guess Helm's Deep was
and this is why
they
this
were
is so good. This is
they
shot
were
in day.
coming for Helm's Deep. Yeah, we could see everything.
We could see everything, and there was way more blood, and I could see it.
All right, let's
begin.
All
right. So, I mean, this episode has an amazing bookend moment. We begin with Varia and Gabs. They do a bicep off, like, bro, what's up? To a strong Amazon nation is said. Everyone's cheering.
All a reference to Path of Vengeance, where Varia beat the shit out of Gabs.
Yeah, and she's like, how's the eye? Oh, how's the hand? Thought maybe you'd sprain it on my face.
I was way more worried that Varia had sprained her foot on Gabrielle's abs.
Oh, yeah.
That's on her ass.
That's the real joke.
I thought it was on her ass because she kicked it.
She did kick it.
She kicked her ass.
And as established, I can't with Varia's kicks. They're just too terrifying.
Oh my gosh. I like that Gabs has the little eyebrow cut, like from that episode and into this episode.
Yeah, some nice wound continuity.
Yeah, it's a good.
And just the blocking, like we have Varia again established as Queen of the Amazons, whereas Gabs is sort of this secondary figure. But at the same time, they're like, locked hands. You feel like it's almost like you're saying a bicep off. Like they're going to like start arm wrestling. Like you feel like there is still tension here. Boy. And you have the sense that these are actually, equally matched people.
Yes, but it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to alleviate the tension. That's the whole point.
That is the tension,
good.
But it's ironic.
Well, speaking of tension, we have some new Amazon faces. I guess these are not queens, but just Amazons.
They're all queens.
They're not. Certainly not Bane.
Oh, yeah, Bane's no queen.
Well, we meet a new character, Tyro, who is giving, like, a look of, like, is this flirty? That's what I thought. Katie, you want to talk about her, the actress?
What? Oh, yeah, I love her. Her name is Madeline Sammy. She's a New Zealand comedian, and she's fantastic, and you should go watch the movie, The Breaker Uppers.
Also on Netflix.
On Netflix, because it's so funny and good.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was, like, really surprised that she was here.
Yeah. Like, no, she's so great.
Dramatically.
Oh, and then also, like, that show we've mentioned before that Lucy was on in that guest star thing that one time. Like,
this is on our...
Taika Waititi's show.
Yes, because this is...
Secret City? Super City.
Yes, this is from the Xena... Yeah. Sorry, this is from the Lucy IMDb experience.
Yeah.
So go listen to those on Patreon. Speaking of Xena, she is giving like the praise hands emoji to this whole situation. She
is.
Because she knows she's not invited to this party. And she's playing it off like she's cool with it.
Nor should she be, because remember how disrespectful she was towards Amazon Ritual in the previous episode?
And Amazons in general. And like Amazons how she murders them all the time.
Jeez. So yeah, she quite sarcastically is like, no, I don't need an invitation to your party. I'm gonna go sleep in the woods with my chicken.
Right. This is very confusing. Is the party supposed to last like all day and all night?
I don't know. I mean, you feel like with this kind of like trance ritual, it should take a while.
Yeah.
Oh, because they're gonna do ayahuasca and
they're
stuff like
definitely
that.
they've already done ayahuasca.
So the ritual happens during this solar eclipse, which is the confusing part because you think that this is going to be like, you know, under the moon, like the previous rituals,
confusing.
But it's not.
I feel like they're like, how can we do lifeblood, but like not do lifeblood?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
An eclipse.
Yeah, they do the thing where they cut Varya's the front of the bicep or the side of the bicep, the place where everyone gets the arm wound, like, and should have like a gazillion scars. So she does she gets the cut and then she lifts her bloody palm to the solar eclipse.
Oh yeah, the shot where you see the bloody palm against the eclipse is really cool.
And everyone's like, yeah, oh my god.
I also love her like high fashion feathered outfit that she's rocking here. Nice one, Varya.
I like Xena's chicken.
Me too.
She really feels left out.
Yep, she's got a sad little chicken. She's got a TV dinner.
Yeah,
while everyone else is at the party.
Yeah, and everyone starts dancing, and it's like a whole thing. And then we start getting really cool, crazy, creepy stuff happening.
Yeah. At first I was like, oh my god, is Satan from The Passion popped up in here?
Like Mel Gibson's
that first shot. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mel Gibson.
Yeah, put a coin in.
I don't know.
Why so many?
He comes up.
He did do Hacksaw Ridge.
Oh no.
Another coin.
He did Braveheart.
Yeah, he loves his war movies. War movies are problematic in general, so just throw some coins in. Yeah. There's suddenly just a really strange masked face, and I love how Michael Hurst does this. It just pops into the shot, and you're like, "Who dat? Are they part of the ritual?"
Well, it looks like they are because some of the Amazons have this white paint on them, which kind of looked a little bit like Aboriginal tribal paint. And so, certainly when these guys showed up, I was like, oh, that's a dude. He should not be here.
Yeah.
And also, that's creepy.
In robes or something.
Yeah, they're in robes. And then you get, the music cue of, the didgeridoo. And that was really cool.
Oh, yeah, didgeridoo.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Creepy.
Yeah, I don't know why that choice happened, but that happened.
There were a lot of strange musical choices this episode.
Oh, yeah. My favorite one was that. It's definitely not a kazoo, but at the beginning...
It sounded like a kazoo. That's
it's just
exactly
it's like a rock noise.
Wait, is it the
funny.
same that begins the Xena theme song? Like that,
No, it's funny. It was a funny sound.
Kazoo, Vera.
The closest thing. I was going to be like, you guys are dumb. It's that.
It's like right after they break the tension with the fake arm wrestle thing. It's like a noise.
Maybe it's like,
if you go watch it,
funny.
you'll hear it. Tell me what that is.
Well, these creepy dudes start appearing, and guess what? Party's over. They are there to attack the Amazons.
And Xena, I love it. She looks up from her chicken and is just like, I sense Gabrielle in trouble. I just know it.
Yeah.
Something's going wrong in the raid.
She gets in on this party, which is being a murder party now.
Oh, my favorite kind of party.
These dudes, you can tell, the baddies are in robes with the white faces, and then, an even bigger baddie rides in on a horse, and instead of having a painted white face, he's wearing, a mask with just, eye holes, so he looked like the Eyes Without a Face movie.
He does look like Eyes Without a Face.
That's
good
random.
reference.
From 1960.
Very random.
He also has his scarf over his head. This scarf is going to be
Seriously?
important. Yeah, that's
His
the
scarf.
Wow, I did
is
not note
the
that.
best.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Because otherwise you wouldn't know this is him later.
I did
so you need
see
the
his
scarf,
eyes through the
scarf.
face
Yeah.
mask. I thought that was how you did it because there was a real big close up of them.
There was. He gets a lot of close-ups. You know this particular masked face is going to be key.
Yeah, Xena gets his attention by like doing a war cry, and then you have like this like super zoom on her, and she like slices one of his goons' throats.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty good.
That was good.
She throws her chakram at this guy, but he deflects it with his sword, and Xena's like, what?
Very few people can do that.
I mean, he didn't catch it, but he deflected it.
Still, very few people can do that.
And he doesn't care that like the chakram bounces off and kills one of his own dudes.
No, this dude don't care.
So he charges at Xena and knocks her over.
Yes.
So this guy has skills good enough to beat up Xena slightly.
It's a little confusing. I'll admit to being confused about this because we'll soon realize this is Craig Parker. And Craig Parker, unlike, say, Chanina, does not look like he could beat me up. I think I could beat up Craig Parker.
Oh.
Listen.
I'm not saying Craig Parker is bad. He's wonderful. He's a beautiful voice. He's a gorgeous man. He just doesn't come across as a guy who could beat up Xena.
I agree.
But did Agathon and Magathon?
Oh, obviously not. Obviously not. But at least the episodes do kind of push them as being awesome
and
antagonists.
I would much take
You'd
this.
take Bellerophon.
I think Bellerophon is a very specific type, and we'll get to it.
Okay, we'll get to it.
But anyway, he has like a lot of fighting skills, and Xena's like, "What? I don't get it." She does the jump up after her fall, and it's a big old high Zoe moment.
It is. I
She's
mean,
very much there.
I'm always happy to see her.
Actually, there's a lot of like high Zoe and whoever plays the dude in this, which is like because Michael Hurst directed
Bellerophon's
those.
stunt double is very obvious.
Yeah.
Maybe because Craig Parker does not look like he can do stunts. So, like,
Yeah,
that's just
he's
someone
like-
who does. You're like, what?
He has a particular skill set, which is not fighting. It's more like draping himself over objects.
He's a very good draper.
He spots that Varia is like super awesome at fighting, and so he takes her on and he like bonks her over the head and kind of kidnaps her.
Yeah, just throws her over his horse and off he goes. But meanwhile, we have Gabs and Xena, and they are fighting back to back.
Yeah, it's like super great.
Have we ever seen this before? Has this ever happened?
Yeah, but like you mean like to the point where they're like just like
Back to
very
back.
intensely pressed together in this way that is noticeable in this episode.
This looks like, the pose you take when you're like getting the still photography done. I mean, it looks great. I don't know how effective it is in a battle situation. Well, they're protecting each other's backs, so I guess it's a good.
It's technically like a thing you're supposed to do.
Yeah. I love though that like overhead shot where you see them, independently taking out dudes and just sort of like the long line of dudes waiting to fight them.
One on one. Yeah, so Bellerophon is like, all right, let's retreat, men. He doesn't care because like he wants them, the girls, to come after them. Like that's his plan. You had this like one moment, which is, I don't know, it really stood out for me, of Gwyntier killing one of these goons. And she stabs him and like has this crazy primal, like ferocious scream.
Yeah.
Gwyntier is cool.
I love her, and I think that some of these shots are like unnecessary, but the fact that they're in here is, amazing. I don't know. That just said so much. Like I don't know anything about her or her life, but to me that expressed a lot, and I'm very curious now.
I'm also just happy that some of the Amazon queens established in the previous episode are here.
Yeah, I think most of them, except for our fave. But she was spared,
busy.
We can say.
Yeah, she seemed maybe more of the kind of tactician than a warrior, so maybe she's the one who stayed back home.
Yeah, she was like keeping records, and I don't know, maybe she had a cold.
Don't think Amazon would stay home. They had a cold.
But they do say, or rather they're about to say, that they're going to take only their best fighters to go get Varia back.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
It's important as we talk about the tragedy of the ending to remember that there are some Amazons back home.
Here,
yeah. They're filing papers.
They're only losing their best, which obviously is a huge, huge blow.
Xena and Gabs assess the damage, and there's a lot of fallen bodies on the dance floor.
Shocking. This the camera pulls out and you just see that oh man.
Yeah.
Oof. This in a way is as bad as the beach scene later. This is a lot of fallen. Yeah.
And Cyan says the obvious. They've kidnapped our queen. So now Xena's like, oh, we have to go get her.
I love when the camera then pans to Xena. She's got noseblood.
Yes.
Oh. Whoa.
Do you imagine Michael Hurst running up and squirt?
Okay, you're good to go.
I was good. We're the worst.
Yeah, no,
it's like so real. Like that kind of just like little touch was good.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like it's a signal to us, the viewers, hey, Xena actually got her face bloodied from this. Like, it's just serious.
Like this episode, she has later just like a little bloody lip. And it's like, how many bloody lips could she have had at this point? You know what I mean? Like, that was just like a little bloody lip. And it's like, you're like, yeah, she would have these every day.
Constantly. Yeah, it's true.
Like, I don't know.
So she picks up the goon, like a goon weapon, and it's super bloody. And she's like, I recognize this weapon. It's from Helicon, the fortress on the coast.
So this is going to be important because now we get a sense of the lay of the land for their invasion. Right. How do they siege this fortress when it's high up on a mountain that's like on the beach?
Yeah. So Gabs is like, oh, we need a commander who's familiar with the terrain of Greece. It should be Xena.
Does this mean that literally all the Greek Amazons are gone? Varia was the only one?
I don't even know where the fuck Varia's from.
That's true. Yeah, I was a little confused.
Where's that bikini from?
Wait, she would be.
Yeah, she seems like she's from...
She's just not here
the hometown crowd.
Right, exactly.
She can't do it.
So I guess we don't have any other...
leaders.
Yeah, higher ups, but except for Gabs, obviously.
Right.
Well, Gwyntier is always first to jump in with, no, Amazon law says it has to be only Gabs.
But of course, it is key here that Gabs is like, well, a battle commander situation, that should be Xena.
Right.
That's her first instinct. This is a job for Xena, not for me.
But she gets put in command, and you get this like slow, ominous zoom on a very nervous Gabs. She outlines the battle plan. So there's like this mountain pass that leads directly to Helicon, and therefore it's going to be super defended. So the best way for them to attack is by water.
Yep. And Xena says, good call.
And she says, good teacher.
Oh my god.
And then there's like forearm touching.
It's really nice.
I like that Gabs gets to have the idea, which will later turn out to be a very bad idea. But she did have it.
Here is there
It's the
right
only
in this
way.
moment. It's good. This is a good call. Xena agrees as well.
They don't know. They don't have anybody doing like recon. They don't have spy planes.
Yeah.
Like they don't know.
Yeah, it's
how
too
to...
bad they couldn't have had some recon, because I feel like if you got close enough to this fortress, you'd probably see that they have the catapults. Because that's the detail that they miss.
And see, this is where I'm like, okay, where's those episodes? Honestly, no. Every episode should be like this. Instead, we always have Xena with her triple long plans. She should have known they have catapults.
Yeah, you're right. I really
like,
shouldn't be criticizing, because I would love to see Xena make these mistakes on the regular. Because how would you know?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, she has her own plan. She's going to sneak into the fortress by herself, and she's going to kill the leader, Bellerophon. And they're going to follow the attack from behind, from the water.
So this is, like, a big step for Gabrielle, that she has come up, like, with the battle strategy, and she is going to lead them. I feel like this, I mean, there's a little bit of a discussion of it, just in the sense that, like, Xena's like, nope, it's on you, you're gonna do it. Gabs is sort of like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, she's nervous.
Yeah, she's nervous, but at the same time, it's cool to see her just, immediately sit down and start doing it. Like, immediately bust out with the strategy.
Good.
I do think for all the kind of horrible things that happen this episode, you do see just how competent Gabs is as a leader. She is decisive.
Yeah. We go to Helicon, and we meet our leader here. The return of Craig Parker, last seen as Pumpkin.
Pumpkin!
That's true. He was last seen as Pumpkin. That's amazing.
Pumpkin, what has become of thee?
Oh, poor Pumpkin. He's had a rough life. He still has Bobby issues.
Oh my god, he does. So he's like a really smug bitch, you know?
And like all smug bitches, he's got an amazing pretentious scarf.
Yes!
So pretentious.
It's my favorite. I love his costume.
You would.
His whole look is amazing. He wears guy liner too.
Yeah, oh, he looks fabulous
He
with the guy
is
liner.
perfect as this. I think he's supposed to represent like a trust fund kid.
Yeah.
Like he's rich and his, mom is famous. Like he's one of those.
He's so
and
arrogant.
so arrogant and full of himself. And
he's so full of himself that he has a scarf. So I mean, whoa.
I have like 20,000 scarves.
I know you do. I like to call this scarf darkened shawl.
Oh, like Dark and Raw?
Yes.
I think, do you think this episode was his like audition for Dark and Raw?
It's a very Raw-esque performance.
Yeah, this is the closest out of all his performances on Xena that is,
That is Seeker.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they remembered this and were like, we'll have, how about Craig Parker? Although I wish his hair was like from here instead of
on Legend of the Seeker.
Actual Dark and Raw hair.
You don't like the long flowing locks?
I do not.
I'd like his Lord of the Rings hair.
No.
Little elven back clip. He basically has Xena's hairdo there.
I don't know. I don't think I like him as a blonde.
No, he looked really strange.
Yeah.
As did most of them.
He's a really great guy and like a frequent guest at DragonCon.
Oh yeah, totally.
And he likes to drape himself over like the front of the table where you sign autographs. Like he doesn't sit behind it anymore. He likes
very
to be part
approachable.
of the people. Yeah.
A very sweet man.
So he is being a little bitch to Varia here.
Yes.
And she's being all like, my Amazon sisters are coming for me. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, oh, I know.
Right. And now you're like, oh, okay.
And we're like, oh, what? What does that mean?
It's part of the plan.
I love when she asks him, what kind of madman are you? And he's like, the kind who wears a scarf all the time. And she's like, oh, God, just kill me now. Oh, no.
I'm going to go put my scarf on. So, meanwhile, Gabs is like conducting like this big old joint Amazon funeral. Like they have like a bajillion bodies on the pyre.
Yeah. Oof.
And it's like,
and once again, we get our music cue.
The music cue.
Yeah.
It's somber AF.
Arm touch.
Yeah. Like comforting forearm squeeze. Some good stuff there.
Good job.
And that was the parting little gesture from Xena as she goes to ride off on her mission.
Right.
So now it's nighttime. The date is June 6, 1944.
Ooh. Yikes.
So the great Amazon nation is on the way to storm the beaches of Helicon.
Right.
They're on a boat that kind of, like, I guess it's their Viking boat set or whatever.
I guess so, yeah. You don't get a very good look at it because it's at night.
I know.
Game of Thrones shade. Literal shade. At that shady program you cannot see.
Nope, I refuse to partake in this conversation. Please go read an article with the cinematographer. Have a nice day.
So the inside of the boat is just like filled up with the Amazons, and it's clearly supposed to evoke the imagery of like a Higgins boat, like a World War II troop moving boat.
Was that like when they're all
like when they go from the big ship and they're being
the
landed onto the beach,
and it like lands.
And it's like just a big old thick crate to hold bodies.
Yeah.
So it's clearly supposed to be that imagery.
You get a lot of handheld camera. And a lot of close-ups of the Amazons' faces, which I appreciated. You really just get to kind of be with them in this situation and kind of learn the names of the ones you don't know yet.
It's that
or at
thing
least
where
learn their faces.
They teach you, like, they give you these character, like, endearing moments, and you're like, oh, I like her, and then she's like, killed.
Immediately killed. Guess what?
Yeah.
One other touch that I thought was great in the sound design is you hear barf noises.
Yeah, I mean, this is, like, classic, like, Normandy, World War II imagery, where you have, like, all the soldiers standing around. Some are super nervous. Some are like fine.
Some are
like
joking.
Some are joking. Some are like they would be playing cards. They'd be like having a smoke. Then there's a guy puking, and then there's like the comforting leader, usually the sergeant, going around being like, "Are you okay? How's it going?" Like, and this is Gabs. Like, so they did all of this, and this is so great. Yeah. So you had like different types of reactions by these nervous Amazons. Like you had Gwyntier making small talk with Cyan.
I love this.
Yes. Yeah. Cyan's like, lend me some money because then, she thinks she won't die if she owes someone money.
Yeah.
And she's like, what do you need it for? We don't even use the same currency.
Yeah, that was great. That was a great detail.
But she gives it to her. And then you had Tyro, who's like ashamed for being scared. Aww. She like name drops jocks are here.
Right. I liked that. Because this just
because he's awful. And
so that means she's read the scrolls? Or
don't they like all know the scroll? They always know Gabrielle from the scroll.
Yeah. And we've kind of established that during the 25-year jump. Xena and became famous through Gabs' storytelling.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
Well, Gabs is being a very good leader here. She makes her feel better. She basically says that some people are a lot better at hiding their fear than others.
And it seems like Bane, who is Tyro's friend, is sort of like her example of
her best friend.
Her best friend.
She, by the way, Tyro has part of her costume is like these beads. The kind like if you go to like Jamaica or something and you're a problematic white girl and you get your hair braided or whatever, they put the beads and whatever. So it's off of her arm on this arm bracelet, and they're rainbow colored.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so okay. So you're saying that Bane
is and Tyro, I think, are together.
Oh, that was very clear.
But yeah,
I just think that Tyro could do better.
I think Tyro can definitely do better.
Yeah.
And I think, this is obviously very ironic that she looks at her friend Bane being like, that girl's not afraid. That girl's fearless. Well, just you wait, Tyro.
Yeah, just you wait until we see the true colors of Bane. So back at the castle, Xena surprises Bellerophon with a punch to the face.
I liked how that was shot, because she really does just seem to appear out of the darkness. He's lighting candles in a very pretentious way.
Yes, yeah.
Because he would.
I like how he falls, too. This was like a Craig Parker fall. It was good. I don't know.
Yeah. He went right down on that rug that's there in the middle of the stone room. Just like one little rug there.
He knows her, but he introduces her himself, and she has a line about that. It's not nice to meet you, Bellerophon.
Oh, boy.
And then they fight, and then he has, some surprising move.
Yeah, Xena's shocked that he actually, gets her, makes her fall over.
he does, a move, from, Mortal Kombat or something, and he, punches her across the room. And she's like, what?
I forget. She has some line where
she's been hit
only
like that before.
Can hit her like that.
But never by a mortal.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's very surprising. And so they start kind of circling each other and talking.
Yeah, let me explain my life story to you.
That's their move, because they do that later on horses.
That's their thing. So Bellerophon's deal.
Yeah.
He is the son of Artemis.
Okay.
And we should do a quick flashback to Artemis looking like a doofus.
Yeah,
we were killed by Xena.
Yeah, trying to shoot her with a bow and arrow point blank for no reason.
But failing miserably, even though she's a goddess of that kind of stuff.
Rightfully points out that him being the child of Artemis is funny because she's famously virginal.
Right.
But she's a goddess, so, there are ways that don't involve having sex. You could have busted out of her head.
Yeah, that's true.
How is he then half mortal?
Okay,
that's a good point.
True. That's a good point. So he has vendetta.
Yes, for his mommy.
For his mommy.
Oh my god, that deep cut Simpsons thing is just bananas. No one understands it but us.
We figured out it was season 22 of The Simpsons or something. Oh god.
That was from the movie.
No, it's not.
We've had
this conversation already on the show.
I'm so sorry, listeners.
We've done it.
We are oddly obsessed with this one episode of The Simpsons.
He has a vendetta.
Is it time to discuss him or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like this is one of his big scenes.
Okay, so by the way, Bellerophon is like a real dude from mythology who has nothing to do with this guy.
Yeah,
like
he's
I don't know.
Not the son of Artemis.
No, he's like whatever. He conquered Pegasus.
But he is a demigod, though. I forget. Like he might be.
He did shit before Hercules did.
Right. He's almost like the pre-Hercules Hercules because he like fights a chimera.
Yeah.
He rides Pegasus.
Right. He does
but then
some
like
cool shit.
Later people sort of decided they preferred
Hercules.
Perseus.
Oh.
Like, Perseus is sort of like the guy you think of as the one who rides Pegasus, not Bellerophon.
Interesting why this guy got ousted.
Yeah, I don't know.
That should be his vendetta.
Yeah, his vendetta should be, I'm not famous enough.
Well, I think...
a lot of those, though.
Like, all right, so I think that if they really wanted to do something like this, and I understand that, like, yes, Artemis was the patron goddess of the Amazon, so you couldn't really do this, but, like, how the show dealt with that particular character, which is in a nothing way, it would have made more sense if he was, let's say, the son of Athena.
Yes, that's a really good point.
Like, we know her, we love her. She would totally have a, badass kid.
Who wears a lot of guy liner and a pretentious scarf.
if he was her son, I wonder if he would have, if he might have had a gold scarf instead of a silver one.
Okay,
you know,
like, how do the Amazons get involved?
Well, that's what I mean. Like, you can't, like...
You might have to change the plot slightly or just come up with a slightly different reasoning.
I mean, really what they should have done was create Artemis as a character for us to like.
Which we, of course, said back in the Twilight of the Gods plotline.
It's too easy to just be like, well, she's their patron goddess and, like, this is her son.
Yeah, and his whole logic of this, which is somehow that the Amazons are responsible for her death because they weren't, like, worshipping her hard enough.
Well, listen, I think that was more a reaction to how they switched to Ares.
But that was just like for a hot second last week.
I don't know how long that lasted.
Well, this is this is happening, so he's clearly pissed him off.
It pissed him off.
Yeah, exactly.
But his main vendetta is like seems also Xena related.
Well, he saw Xena and he was like, "Oh shit! Well, she's number one vendetta.
Yeah.
Like plans.
She actually killed Ma." I'm just trying to imagine Bellerophon and like Artemis. I don't know, having like mother-son outings. It's very confusing.
Do you think they did the like? What was that thing from Arrested Development? Where they dressed the same?
Probably. I feel like that explains a lot about Bellerophon.
So I think he was a slightly, like, I get it, and I do like that, his whole vendetta is about his mother. You never really have, like, a demigod whose mother is the goddess. Or,
that's
like
That's
it's always
point.
like my father,
right?
Like, I'm
that's
her dad, and like I'm a boy, and et cetera, et cetera. This is like he's a son, and he's like avenging his mother. That's interesting, and he's very proud of being a demigod from his mother, like not from like whoever the fuck his dad is.
Yeah, he's an intriguing sketch of a character.
Yeah.
I definitely would have liked to know more.
It would have been better if he was set up.
He has this kind of like misogynistic language.
Yes,
which
is
the Amazons bitches.
Right.
Like, you get the sense, like, all his men are dudes fighting the ladies. Again, we have those kind of gender optics that we had in Dangerous Prey. I had the sense that he sort of hates women. But
like a weird duality. He loves his mother.
Yeah.
And like is very proud of being her son. It's very interesting.
Yeah. He could have been a really interesting character. This episode has a lot of stuff to do. So
is he like a Norman Bates? Like, is there those issues? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I'm just going off of why he hates women but loves his mother.
That seems a little left field. Guess we don't know enough about him.
Yeah, we don't know anything about him except he loves scarves.
I saw some posts on the Xena Online community, people saying that they actually really thought this character had a lot of potential and could have had an arc this season. Maybe been the big bad.
Yeah. I agree. I really agree. And honestly, like, I remember watching this episode and being really, like, confused and, like, weirded out by him and being like, well, that plot's stupid. But on a rewatch and kind of, like, studying the show versus just binging it, I appreciated him a lot more, even though, like, he's a missed opportunity big time, to be somebody.
I guess it's nice to have, even though obviously we were very frustrated with the Twilight of the Gods arc, like in a lot of ways. It created a lot of problems. I would have liked if somehow one of the consequences of it had been a vendetta, because I feel like that's so classic to Greek drama and just drama in general, to have like one act of violence just keeps spiraling and spiraling, as we'll later say in this episode, that her decision to kill the Olympian gods basically created this man and his deal. And there obviously was dramatic potential in exploring that character.
Yeah, and you definitely couldn't have had him as a big bad without making his mother a character. I'm still not over it. Literally, low-key, but maybe not even low-key anymore. This is my favorite episode of... No, it can't be my favorite, but, like, it's one of my favorite episodes of Xena, and therefore I'm like, I can't believe this guy who's so important to this episode has, like a mother who's just such a ridiculous non-character. But whatever, they weren't thinking that far ahead.
They really weren't. Too bad.
Yeah, that's too bad, exactly. So he wants to kill all of the Amazons.
He's luring them in, basically, to do that. That's his plan.
Yeah. So is he Hitler here?
Whoa.
Because he wants to eradicate all these Amazons. He hates them so much because they wouldn't let him into art school.
Oh, my God.
That's a big metaphor.
Yeah. I feel like I'm going to throw a coin in just because comparing anything to Hitler.
If you're going for D-Day, these guys are the Nazis.
Yeah.
I'm not leaping that far.
Yeah, obviously taking any sort of personal vendetta and, like, extending it to, like, an entire people is bad behavior. But
I think that the language is kind of, like, specific for them to even, like, say that he wants to kill all of the Amazons, et cetera, et cetera. So then you cut to Gabs. She's telling everyone that the element of surprise is their greatest weapon.
All right. Well, this is right after Bellerophon has not only said he's going to kill all the Amazons, he says he knows about the Amazons in the boat.
Yes.
And you're like, oh shit. No. So then when Gabs, you immediately cut to Gabs being like, guess what? Surprise is literally the only thing we've got.
Be quiet, girls. And then he's like, fire the catapults. And
Xena's reaction when he says that is great too. She really freaks out
to jump out a window.
Well, but even before she does that, you really see like viscerally on her face that like, I think she believed she was really going to take care of business single-handed, and Gabs wouldn't have to do anything. So this, she's suddenly like,
which is part of the like he should be more like why didn't she just kill this guy? Well, but I guess that's the point, right? You should just go right in there and do a murder. Right. That's kind of the point. But oh well.
But then she just hurls herself out a window.
I want more reactions like that from her, where she finds out that, guess what, someone's ahead of her, and she wasn't planning for it, so she has to fly out a window.
She really does.
And takes one of the goons with her, which was a great touch.
Poor goon.
There's a deleted scene where the sharks attack him.
The goon.
Yeah, I think Michael Hirst said there were originally 3 shark attacks. Yep. I don't remember what the third is. Oh, I think
it's picking off the
picking off the
Amazons.
Other wounded Amazons. They did not have time for 3 separate shark scenes.
Well, Xena's dead now.
Oh God,
because she's like in the water, face down.
Oh, she really is.
Oh no, she's not dead. She gets up and she sees the ruins of the ship, like she can see it, and she starts swimming for it. She's all like, Gabrielle.
But I guess they've already abandoned ship.
The ship exploded. I was a little confused
by what happened here.
And they jumped out of the ship.
But the fact that Xena seems so far behind the rest of the Amazons.
Yeah, they weren't quite there yet, but they were pretty close.
They were close enough.
Close enough for her to see this explosion and worry.
Oh, yeah.
So Gabs is like, all right, girls, we're still going.
We're still doing it.
We're still
going to take the beach. Yeah, this is again, like, kind of both an example of Gabs being a strong leader under pressure, trying to keep everybody calm and together, but also, like, now she's gone from, okay, our one advantage is gone, and we're still going to try to take the beach, which is not a good battle strategy at all.
But you have to do what you have to do.
They literally can't just go swim back home.
Guess what? The Germans knew that the Normandy invasion was happening. They were ready for it. So it's just what you do. Like,
and you see how ready Bellerophon's people are, because they've constructed all these fortifications on the beach.
Yeah.
Basically barbed wire.
I can't wait to talk about it. Wait, hold. Try to fit it in.
We're so close. We're so close.
I just want to say this in the beginning of the drinking game where somebody goes, but they have catapults.
Oh, yeah.
So drink.
Okay. Is it always
It's not.
Bane?
This one is Gwynsier, but Bane takes over.
Bane will soon take over. They have catapults position in the argument.
So here we go. The D-Day invasion has begun. Amazing camera work off the bat of like a handheld coming out of the water, like with all the waves like hitting it. It's beautiful and just
you immediately feel how visceral that is.
Which again was like the big point of Saving Private Ryan, was to make you feel like you
were there.
You are there.
You are there.
But like to really use those like shaky cam and like close-ups and things to like put you right in the boat and put you right on the beach. And this episode is literally doing the same thing as this $1 million Steven Spielberg movie that is like, and it's doing it like really well. It's really impressive.
This is Saving Queen Varia.
Saving Queen Varia. They take one filmmaking technique, like straight from Saving Private Ryan, that was the shutter speed. I thought this was really cool, and you can definitely see that this episode of Xena like looks different from other episodes.
Really?
They're using this really fast shutter speed, so you basically have like no motion blur like for any of this beach stuff. So, like, you know, when there are explosions, you sort of, like, see the grit and stuff. You see the sand. And that's something that, what is his name? Janusz Kaminski did in Saving Private Ryan. And they totally stole it for this Xena episode. And it does make the action scenes, like just the fighting scenes, look really different, I thought.
Yeah.
Like, they have that kind of, you know, to your eye, it kind of looks like fast motion, but it's just that, like,
it looked
it's
perfect.
very crisp.
Yeah.
And sort of jittery.
Nice. Yeah. Well, it worked here. I don't know. It was perfect. This whole thing is so impressive. Oh my gosh. The Amazons run onto the beach and the catapults open up. So we have... This is so great because you have just ancient Greece doing World War II.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like the catapults represent like the German 88 guns, like the heavy artillery. You have the beach strewn with anti-tank, like, you know, little
They're very
hedgehogs.
concerned about tanks.
Like, why are they there?
Why the anti-tank technology?
And then you have like what is it, like crazy vines, which are supposed to be the barbed wire. It is just so perfect. It's fantastic.
Or is it nonsense then?
It's a little bit nonsense, but at the same time...
I mean, the girls can get caught up on it. Like, if they had horses, the horses would get caught up on them.
And what it seems to almost do...
Anti-horse.
It hurts them into this one line that then gets taken out by the catapult. So it actually does seem...
Yeah, and then you have, like, the archers from the ramparts, which is the equivalent of, like, bullets, straight bullets.
Yeah.
Of course.
And they're definitely shot that way. The way
totally.
The way people just fall.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, this whole sequence has like everything from Saving Private Ryan and or classic war storming of a thing. So we have the Amazons running through this whole cacophony of, you know, war horror.
Yeah, and it just, I mean, I like that there isn't really dialogue for the most part during the sequence. It really is just kind of the chaos.
Yeah, you have the catapults exploding, so you have a lot of Amazons getting hit with, like, shrapnel.
Yes.
They fly and they, you know, fall, and everyone's bloody. We lose our first queen.
Yeah, in the water still, before they even get really
and
onto
she's
the
so
beach.
bloody. She gets, like, an explosion is in front of her face, and you see, was it Gabs right behind her? She, like, you know, runs to the front to see her, and she's just, like, her entire front is bloody. This is Queen Mauka, so sad.
Yeah. Yeah, the fact that it's immediately one of the queens who gets taken out.
Yes.
You know, not a red shirt.
Right.
Lots of red shirts everywhere.
Are also taken out.
Yeah. So you have like the thing of like arrows hitting someone who's like mid-sentence, the stray arrow.
I mean, I thought Michael Hirst does a really good job with that, like that moment with the crying girl whose friend is trying to get her to stand up, and then the friend gets killed.
Yeah, because like on D-Day, you know, at least in Saving Private Ryan, there's a lot of scenes like that where it's so bad because they had these machine guns trained at them. Like it was, everyone was getting hit left and right. So like a lot of them just crouched behind those anti-tank hedgehogs, and they wouldn't want to move. And so you had to have somebody being like, go, go, go. Like you had to have your like Tom Hanks being like, go, you know, to the sand dunes over there.
And that person obviously is so exposed to danger.
Yeah, and so like if you have like your
and is
friend,
telling other people to expose themselves to danger.
So, but they don't get that, you know, it's while it's very dangerous, obviously it would be safer eventually to get to where you need to go.
To cover.
Yes, exactly.
So Gabs, of course, is our Tom Hanks
She
in this
is.
situation.
She sure is.
She tells everybody that they're not going to die here. And I love, like, that shot where you really see her, like, just sort of crouching with her abs, like, in the wet sand.
And I love her hair. Like, the hair
so
is
miserable.
so good here.
Yeah, the hair looks nice and wet. And
yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, the hair is perfect. The situation's bad.
Yeah.
It sounds like she's lost her voice already from shouting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really, like, you know, they clearly shot all of this on location, and you really feel it. You feel that this is, like, physically hard on the actors, that they're, like, holding up through it. And, like, I think
all that sand all day.
It's great for the
running,
performance. Yeah,
cold.
These are some uncomfortable, tired people you're looking at.
They need a volunteer to distract the catapults, basically, distract fire from the rest of them because they need to get to a specific point in the sand dunes. So Gabs has to send one of her troops.
Right. I kind of seemed like there was an odd moment there where it seemed like, what's her name, Trudis?
Yeah, sure.
Like, it seemed like she looked like she was about to do, like, it's sort of like Gab singled her out because she seemed like
she was going to volunteer.
Yeah. Like, that she would, like, had the look about her that she was going to go do it.
I think this is a compromise that they had because this was a contested moment between...
We've now reached the point where everything Gabs does that kind of is morally ambiguous or morally complicated is a contested moment. So this is the first one. Yeah, I think it was originally scripted kind of the way it is in the episode where she picks someone and then they shot it with her with Trudis literally saying I'll do it. Gabs not singling her out. Trudis
her saying it first.
Yeah, Trudis saying it first and Gabs being like, are you sure? And then I think they might have done in the editing room. I didn't go back to look like whether you hear Gab's voice over like Trudis.
Oh, maybe that's why it's kind of slightly odd.
So they shot it this more softened way, and I think Rob saw the footage and was like, no, I want her to have to pick. I want Gabs to
make an order.
But I think you're right that you're both right that the compromise like works. Like I can totally see Gabs as the commander, like looking at her men, seeing Trudis like have that look and be like, okay, I'm picking you because I can tell you want to do this or you're willing to do this where no one else is.
Yeah. I felt that.
Well, Trudis, poor sweet Trudis.
Well, can't run fast, I guess.
She gets a catapult.
Does the job.
She does a job because she does divert the
that was all that was being asked of her.
And it goes right on top of her.
She kept running and I don't know.
They really were like
zigzag,
perfect at aiming, I have to say.
And zigzag.
Yeah, they're every time.
Yeah, they were much better than actual
sharp.
like Nazis doing that. But
definitely better than stormtroopers.
So the girls get to safety or somewhat safety at this point, and then Cyan spots the Xena-shaped person coming out of the water.
Yeah,
and hilariously,
no troubles running up.
She gets to them in like 2 seconds.
Yeah. Like kind of jaunts up.
Yeah,
out of the water.
So
like a fireball goes off in front of her.
Yeah,
but she like runs through it.
So then we have Bane, man. You guys are gonna get drunk from her dialogue. It's all they have cannonballs.
Yeah, Bane is freaking out. You gotta have this person.
Yeah,
you always need the one. I mean, this would be me in the battle situation. Probably be most of us.
Most of us. That's why we're not in it.
Yeah.
You have this amazing shot of Xena's face, just kind of like listening to her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She lets her scream it out.
It's very close up and a very maybe this is part of that crispness you're talking about, but like the light's really good and
beautiful. The bangs are back because it's wet.
Hair, etc. And face and intensity of expression.
Yep. A++. It's
good.
She basically tells her to shut up and for everybody to calm down.
Yeah. Though at the same time, you feel like this lady has a point.
Right.
Like we are
frustrated.
I mean, yeah.
Xena fucked up bad. Why didn't she do something? She didn't know. What can you do?
Meanwhile, Bellerophon is like rubbing it into Varia because she can hear them
dying out the window.
It's pretty amazing. So he's like all
and he's just like perched in the window.
Yeah, this is an example of Craig Parker
for Instagram. He's like perched in this window,
so perfect. He's
with his fancy boy scarf.
Yeah, and he's so like calm about it. Yeah. So this is where he's like, well, he shouldn't have abandoned Artemis. We can continue killing them, or maybe we can make a deal, and that's confusing.
No. I also feel like, I don't know, Varia seemed very traumatized. I mean, I don't know if it's from hearing the sounds of her sisters getting killed or if, like, I mean, she clearly has been sort of beaten up. I don't know if she's getting tortured in that castle. I was trying to wrap my head around what Varia's character arc is in this episode because it is a little unkind to her, considering
it's interesting
the supposed character development that she gets every episode she's in.
I think this is a really good example of her character development because usually she's the one who's like, well, let's go fight and get everyone killed because we're going to do it.
Yeah.
But so here, with all that character growth, she's like, yeah, one life for the whole tribe.
Yeah,
and
she's willing to.
Her
be
mistake
more
is
pragmatic.
to like believe that he won't ever come back. For
right,
them.
right. That made me wonder if she had somehow been, I don't know, like was afraid of him. Just kind of did what he said. Had like kind of Stockholm.
This was I don't know if it's specifically Stockholm as much as she really thinks he's a formidable foe and just kind of
wants to pacify him. Yeah.
Xena then tells Gabs that this army is being led by Bellerophon, the son of Artemis, so Gabs gets the gravity of that situation. And this is where you get, like, as she's saying that, you get, like, shots, like, intercut of all the Amazons still on the beach, like, exploding left and right.
Like a montage.
Yeah, montage. Yeah,
that is an upsetting
Yeah, like, shot with arrows. And my favorite, the dead Amazons in the waves.
Yeah.
Which is such an iconic shot from World War II.
This is where Gabs offers Xena command again. She's still trying to give it away.
Yeah.
But Xena's just like, nope.
Yeah, you're it.
They're not going to listen to me. And I think that's true. And also, like, the Amazons have seen Gabs lead them to safety. She's kind of proved herself as their leader. She might not see it that way, but that's kind of what's happened.
To be fair, I do think that they would listen to her at this point.
I mean, I think at this point they'll listen to anyone who's going to be like, this is how you're going to survive.
Yeah.
Do you want to survive? So, listen.
If they really wanted to do that, whatever. But you know what? This is test day, so...
Apparently this is the worst test day ever. Wow.
I do love the way she says, you're it twice.
Yeah. That beautiful, like, second one of intensity.
It's got to be said, even though this is clearly Renee's episode, it's like an acting challenge for Renee. Lucy's so good.
She's amazing in this.
She has to do a lot of, these sort of small moment reacting. And she knocks it out of the park, I think.
Yeah, and clearly, like, also, she would want to be in charge and, like, take care of everything. And that's, I do feel like that's part of it, too.
Yeah, it's a kind of sacrifice on her part to be like, okay, I'm going, I think Gabs is the right person for this job. Yeah.
The artillery barrage suddenly stops, and we have Bane here, who's like, oh my god, let's make a run for it, guys.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, no, stay put. And she's like, nope, this is totally cool. So she runs out and gets super arrowed.
Very much.
This is probably the graphic moment of this graphic episode.
I assume she's supposed to be like machine gun, like the equivalent of a machine gun strafing her. And she falls over dead and then gets exploded.
She's not even dead. She's like being all jittery.
Yeah.
She gets
they do.
Definitely then then very much deaded by the catapult.
Direct catapult hit.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and this happens in front of everybody else.
Including
so
her girlfriend.
Yeah, they're just screaming.
I mean, I did say she could do better, but now...
well, now she will do better.
Sad about it.
Not very sensitive, Vera.
Yeah, sad. I wonder what their relation was like. I really love Madeline Sappy. She's so good. I'm so happy to see her here.
I know.
Anyway, that was gross. That was a lot of arrows.
Yeah.
Ooh. So Xena has an idea that will buy them like a quick second. She runs up the dune and she throws the chakram. It hits the ammo of the catapult, like the little jar full of whatever fire power that they had, and it explodes, and it like sets the dudes, the catapults and the dudes controlling it on fire.
I was like, that'll buy them a lot more than a few seconds.
I know.
She should have done that in the first place.
It's also very impressive, like 5 stunties on fire.
Here we go. Let's discuss the stunts. First of all, like 4 guys on fire on screen. Dracarys, whatever, Xena did it first for sure. Like that was quite a stunt. Also, like massive props to all the female stunties who are dressed in bikinis, flying
flinging
around
themselves into the sand.
Yes, like again, you never think about it, but all the ladies are always not properly dressed for like actual crazy stunts.
Right.
So, my goodness, they did a hell of a job here. Wow.
A helicon of a job.
Helicon of a job!
Just like the fire stuff. Like, I forget what you call it.
Pyrotechnics?
What is it?
Pyrotechnics.
Yeah. Pyrotechnics.
Yeah.
A lot of it. Bananas. Good
it's
stuff.
So good.
And of course, that looks so kind of erratic, like, ooh, fireball, but like that's all so organized. There's someone who's just like setting up each and every one of those and carefully doing it around all the performers to make sure no one is getting anywhere near the burn zone. So just the amount of like choreography and safety that they have to practice is pretty awe-inspiring.
Well, this is not the only catapult that they have, obviously.
Yeah.
So
Xena should now quickly take out all the rest.
All of them. And like in a different episode, she
would. Yeah, but the rules are different because this is a tragic, gritty episode.
This is a realistic one. Thank you very much, as I like to call it. So they run, but a catapult hits, and the last Amazon in line there gets a bunch of shrapnel right in her back, and it's Gwentir. And it's really well done. I thought this moment was really well done and really realistic, because she, like, as far as, how you would do it in a war movie, where she's running, they're all running, and then it hits, and she kind of, like, stumbles onto her knees, and then that's it, man. She's really gone for it. She falls over, and you can see her back is just entirely covered in blood. Xena runs over. She's like, "Oh my gosh, Gwentir!" And
Gwentir was like her fave.
I guess.
I guess so.
Really, she's really into her.
They bonded in the previous episode, I guess.
She picks her up by the boob, but whatever. And she carries her over the shoulders like how G.I. Jane carried Viggo Mortensen in G.I. Jane.
Oh boy!
Thank you, Vera.
You're welcome.
I'm so glad you got G.I. Jane in there.
I was going to say the big line from that, which was, "Suck my dick."
Oh, yeah.
You should leave that.
Yeah, leave it in.
So they make it past the line of fire, and they can take a breath.
Gwentir's dead.
I love,
no, she's not dead yet.
She's totally dead.
She's not dead yet. She's a wounded, and that's a big deal.
She's very out of it.
Xena basically says that they can't really do anything for her, but she's definitely still alive.
She's like, no.
But yeah, Xena's like, no. Which is definitely a moment from Saving Private Ryan, because you have to have like the medical POV, of like them being like, this one's critical, this one you can do, this one's gone, like don't even bother, that kind of thing.
I love these shots of them just, they throw themselves, you can't for a second even tell who's wounded and who's not, because everybody just throws themselves down on that black sand beach, and it's just like out of it.
Right. So Cyan runs up the dune to check it out, what's going on. She spots Varia, who's blindfolded.
This is a very creepy shot.
Yeah, and she's staggering around, coming towards them. She has like manacles on her hands and blindfolded, and everyone's like confused because no one's firing at her.
And this is Saving Private Ryan, right? Saving Queen Varia. Queen Varia, who they thought they had to storm a fortress to save, is now just staggering out towards them.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Varya gets them. Xena chakrams off her manacles. And she says that Bellerophon let her go because a queen should die with her tribe.
Sounds fake. And Xena, I think, has a certain, not skepticism, but she's wary. I feel like she knows something is weird about this return.
Gabs is like super happy to see her though, because
she's
like,
over.
Yeah, she's like, great, I want to give you command.
What's
take
your
it back,
first order?
please. Yep, we're ready for your order, Queen Varya. And then,
I mean, fair.
Yeah. But Varya, who like, always has a boner for war stuff.
Yeah, this is usually her
like,
thing.
Yeah, she's like uncharacteristically like, yeah, we'll wait for nightfall and then retreat.
And her body language is great. Shanina does a great job of just like, something's off.
Yes.
She's so timid. Yeah.
Xena gives her like immediately, like, what the hell?
Right. Xena, I think, and Gaz both are like, oh, we can't just retreat because Bellerophon will just come after us.
Exactly.
Like, there's no retreating. Right. We have to stop him somehow.
Yeah.
That's the only option they have.
Varya finally agrees. She's like, how will we do this? Xena says that they need to go by water to the other side of the fortress, basically.
This whole argument also looks amazing. Just the shots of them standing on this dune. The sky's like super blue. Their hair is blowing.
Yeah,
it's like,
the location is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is like all basically on location this whole episode. And the location is like an actor in the episode. It's really impressive work. I don't know if New Zealand has ever contributed so much to an episode.
That's a tough one, because I think it has.
It certainly has. Like, contributed a lot.
Yeah, the dead, or the other ones.
Yeah, but even the dead, was shot in a lot of sets.
No, like, the Northern Amazons.
That's true. Adventures in the Sea Trade. Yeah, that's a lot of on-location stuff. Okay. All right.
Helicopters around.
Yeah, some big deal.
Is this the scene where I first kind of went like, Varya would say tribe, not troops?
No, that's later, but like
later?
Okay. We're almost
because I just like because there's so much of the references that they're doing that like it sort of weirded me out when it actually was
turned
reflected in the
language.
Dialogue of the Amazon.
Yeah, that's where I'm like everything else is like perfect imagery where like you get what they're doing even though it's like clearly World War II imagery, but having them say stuff like troops constantly is a little weird because they've never used those words before. It's only specific. And like at this point we get it. We get what you're doing, show.
Yeah, it's like, pretty clear.
Don't
straightforward.
So okay, they have a new plan now.
Yes.
This is again a Gab's plan.
Well, this is where the argument is about
this is a strange
whether
scene.
they should leave the wounded or not.
Yeah. They're going again by water to the other side of the fortress where they think they'll be able to attack. Gabs says they should just leave the wounded on this side, not take them into the water.
Which was confusing to me because I was like, oh, she's, like, we should stay here. We should not go by water. But that's not at all what that means.
Abandon the wounded on this side of the beach.
With the implication in her dialogue, she says they'll be safer here.
Yeah, so like they'll come back for them once they beat Bellerophon is what she's implying.
And like
otherwise they'd slow them down.
Also in that dialogue, you kind of get this like, because we're doing so much war stuff, you're like, she's just going to leave all of these women behind? That's not what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, it's not what you're supposed to do. No,
like,
leave no man behind.
But also
that's why G.I. Jane took Viggo Mortensen, put him over her shoulders.
But
it's a different war.
Like, also, it just seemed to imply that she did feel like if they're not, like, critically wounded, that they wouldn't be in the water, they wouldn't be going into more battle. They're just kind of over here on this dune, hanging out, being safe. I don't know. But then Xena and Varya stare at each other.
Yeah,
this is the strange part. Yeah, Varya and Xena both look at each other, and you're not really sure what mental communication is happening here.
But also, Gabs understands it.
Yeah, and then she's like, "You're right."
You're right.
Yeah, without anyone saying anything, Gabs realizes, "Oh, I just said something really bad," which I get. I get that Gabs is almost like so into the military strategy of this is the best, most sensible thing to do that she kind of needs like the reality check of, "Oh, human life, right? Yeah. That's an important thing."
I think it's a little weird because if anybody was going to suggest leaving them behind, it would be Xena, and the fact that she's so like gung-ho about taking them.
That's why I feel like there's
I
something
think Xena
else going on.
has a plan for these wounded, and we'll see it shortly.
This, again, is a scene that was much debated among the actors. They had no idea how to play it. There seems to have been an original draft where Xena said to leave the wounded, which is, I think, a reference to the price. There was a lot of conversation in the price about how to treat the wounded. Xena at one point, wants to just mount them on the battlements.
Right.
So shit. And Gabs was the one in the infirmary being like, oh my God, no, you cannot treat people this way, even if it, helps you in battle. So, here their positions are sort of reversed. It's Gabs kind of saying the horrible thing about how to treat the wounded. Yeah, I feel like you can see that the actors don't really know how to play this. And that really weird moment where Varia and Xena look at each other is... Yeah. Both those actresses being like, "What do we do here? What's happening?" It's not the best. It's a slightly confusing scene, but I think actually Renee, like that moment where she checks herself, like you get that, you understand that she's like, "Oh my God, yeah, what am I saying?"
Unless you want to think of it like Gabs' plan is safer, and Xena and Varia in that moment are like, we can use them as like
a shark bait.
Well, that's only Xena would know about the sharks at this point, because if that one guy who she threw out the window got eaten by sharks, she would know about sharks. And that's where I think Xena does
take the wounded
for just a snack. Yeah.
Wow.
I think that's why
there's something weird here, and I really think it's like not that Gabs is saying they should abandon everyone. I think that like she's.
You think Gabs is right that
I think she was trying to protect them, and Xena and Varia are like, and she's like, agrees.
Yeah.
And then they like bring them as, I don't know. Snackies. It's like the only way that it makes any sense. I don't know. Maybe tell us your thoughts. What is this weird sequence?
So then the next scene is just Varia and Gabs kind of like looking over the sand dune to the path to the fortress, and it's like, oh, Varia came down and she remembers a path, so if she can, get to the path, like then they don't have to go in the water then. Right. So it's like as if
the previous scene didn't happen, which is weird.
It's a little odd.
This should be like a huge red flag for Gabs, that suddenly Varia's like, okay, we just had that great sit down. Let's go over here and discuss a completely different plan.
Yeah, right.
Just you and me.
Should have been like, why didn't you mention this idea previously?
It's extremely eyebrow raising.
But Varia needs a volunteer to go find this path, and Gabs volunteers.
Like, ooh, send me.
So Xena clearly doesn't know about this because she's not part of this conversation. It's only those two.
I feel like Varia's maybe like exploiting Gabs's like desire not to be the one giving orders. So to have Varia kind of being in charge, being like, how's this for a plan? Gabs like jumps on it.
Phil is in the background. Private Phil reporting for duty. He is definitely going at a rope. So Gabs runs out, and then you cut to Varia, who has a bow and arrow, like, trained at her. Oh, no.
Judas.
Oh, no. What's going to happen? What's gonna happen? So suddenly Xena appears and grabs the bow and arrow.
It's cool that she grabs it.
She grabs the shaft.
Yeah. Grabs it by the shaft.
It's actually shot really awesome.
Yeah, no, this is all so dramatic. Yeah, this is done really well. The camera movement, like the way it kind of goes from Gabs running and kind of snaps over to Varia with the arrow is really good.
Yeah. So, this is bad news. The catapults open up, and Gabs is in the middle of the sand, in the middle of that field, totally exposed. So she starts running. Those abs start working overtime, and there's explosions behind her.
Mm-hmm. This is that shot from the me in 2015, me in 2016, right?
Oh, yeah.
That everybody used. This was definitely the Gabs for our time.
Yeah.
Fireball Gabs.
And she does a little somersault away from one of the explosions. But then, one totally seems to have killed her.
Or it seems to have. But she just busts right out into the next scene.
I think that final explosion is just the explosion of Gabs' rage.
It is. Absolutely. Considering she did not get caught in that fireball. Yeah. She can run faster than Trudis. Alas, poor Trudis.
Alas, poor Trudis. She tried.
Caltaka.
Yeah, meanwhile, Private Phil is demonstrating the thing most soldiers forget, which you gotta pause for hydration.
Yep.
Do they forget or just not have any?
Now Phil is going to his dinner dish to see if there's any food in there. Spoiler alert, there is not. But he's still trying.
So Gabs comes out. She's alive. She's fine. This is shot in handheld because she is so pissed.
Oh yeah, it's intense.
Storms in.
I don't know if we've ever seen her this mad.
I know.
She is very mad.
She's so mad.
She's been mad before, but she's
but
very, very
extra,
mad.
Yeah.
This is the height of mad.
So she's like, "What the fuck, Varia? Come on." And Xena figures it out. She's like, Bellerophon promised to spare the Amazons if Varia killed Gabs.
She does seem very sorry about it.
She does. It's some kind of like desperate
She was
move.
crying.
I mean, that was a cool detail. That was a totally good detail.
It wasn't something she was doing gleefully at all.
She didn't want to be doing it. That was like her big like sort of, she thought she was doing the right thing.
It was, it was for the greater good.
Yes, exactly.
Sacrificing one for the many.
Yes.
She just was doing it in a really underhanded way.
But yeah, this is where Xena like makes her feel stupid, being like, well, you know what? Bellerophon would totally come after you guys still and kill you all, so that was really dumb, Varia.
Yeah, poor Varia. I mean, this is more like the character of Varia as we know her. Like, in a way, this is a hothead move.
Yeah.
She just takes it, into her own hands and chooses to trust this guy who should not be trusted.
Yeah. So the other Amazons, Tyro and Cyan, like immediately jump to Amazon justice. This is a traitor in our midst.
They like pull their weapons.
Yeah, man, they're ready really to hardcore. Go. Yeah. So she needs to die because she betrayed them. Gabs is not having it because she's like, you know what, we'll just leave you here.
Which is
kind of worse.
And especially because she's just said, let's leave the wounded. So now she's like, let's leave the traitors and the wounded. And the two worst.
Even Xena's like, what the fuck at that?
You can't just leave her. So, like, you gotta remember that, like, this military action was originally a rescue mission for Varia.
Right.
So for her to go from that to her being like, okay, we're just gonna leave you here.
That's exactly what happens in Saving Private Ryan. They just leave him. No.
Spoilers. But like, this is a really shocking turn of events. Yeah, it is. Even though you get that this is, I suppose, better than having the Amazons immediately execute her, the fact that Gabs offers this substitute is so inadequate. And once again, she's the hardliner, whereas Xena,
this was like an
Xena
extra
comes
hardline.
In pleading for mercy.
Yeah,
this
she
is
was
when
like,
you really see the price dynamics where Gabs is
Gabs is like
something.
really not thinking about it. She's so mad.
Well,
she couldn't believe this was happening.
I mean, she was the
and
one
she
who
almost got exploded.
Yeah.
So Xena is like, let's not. And so Gabs comes to her senses and she's like, okay, fine. She can come with them, but guess what? You can't be queen anymore.
Right. Varia has this hilarious moment where she's like, as Amazon queen, I promise you.
I give you my word.
Yeah. I won't betray you again.
Yeah.
And Gabs does this hilarious, like, sarcastic shrug.
Yeah.
And it's just so epic. Like, the biggest give no fuck shrug.
Yeah. And then she's like, I'll take your word, but you ain't queen no more.
I take your word and I take your necklace.
Yeah, that was really cool. The Shah's like underneath them, so she like rips off this necklace. Like, it's really good.
Yeah. Dramatic moment. And of course, just such a great play on the previous episode where she also challenged her for her queenness.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And lost.
Yeah.
So here, there's not even a challenge.
Wins.
She's just like,
it's
mine now. Like, you
take
fucked up.
Mine with fire and blood.
That's why I feel like the fact that her challenge failed last week is like necessary setup. Like, you couldn't have had her hand Varia her ass, because the next episode is this, in which Varia kind of defeats herself.
She does defeat herself, because you know what? Brains are not her strong suit.
No, like, really not. She should not have been elected ruler of all the Amazons.
But they re-elected her for her other assets, not her brains.
Yeah.
So the next scene is just kind of like another little breather and a good talking bit.
Yeah, very nice talk.
Yeah. Gabs walks up the sand dune like forever, and you're like, where's she going?
It's a single take. Yeah. Like, the entire scene is shot in a single take.
Yeah, so she finally, you see, she gets to Xena, and she's just sitting there playing with some sand.
Aww. She hates sand.
I wish she was building a little sandcastle.
I like that detail.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Yeah,
it's like going through her fingers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was referencing the Star Wars prequels.
Of course you were.
I hate sand. I personally love sand.
Do you really?
Sure.
I wasn't being serious. I was just like wanted to talk about how I like the detail. I wasn't really actually going off of your joke. Yeah. That wasn't what I meant.
That moment really reminded me of whatever episode it was where the Roman soldier was covered with sand.
Oh, yeah. Legacy.
Yeah. So, I'm like, oh, Xena's sitting around thinking about the Romans right now. I don't know.
Everything ends. Rome ends.
Well, that's the thing.
Amazon
Yeah, exactly.
Ends.
That's why I thought about it. Yeah. So, she's definitely not
from dust to dust, from sand to sand.
Yes.
Sure.
But this is a really good moment because things are referenced here, I think.
Yeah. It's so pretty. I'm just on the sand. Anyway.
I'm still on the sand.
It's just such a nice dark, like the black sand. I don't know.
The black sand,
just like them sitting there, leave me alone.
Xena's contemplating giving herself up to Bellerophon.
And Gabs knows it, which is what I really love about this. That Gabs can just look at her and know she's gone off by herself to, like, consider this option.
Mm-hmm. She says, Gabs says that it won't help,
She says exactly what she said to Varia.
Yeah,
that,
he's going to still come after them.
Yeah.
And then...
Did you see that man? He wears a scarf. You can't trust him.
They talk about vengeance.
Oh, yes. This is a great line. Xena's line. She says, that's the thing about vengeance. Like,
you're never really satisfied.
Yes.
Which is such a heavy line. Again, things that I feel like she's implying here is she's talking about herself. Mm-hmm. How, they're running around here trying to protect their own. Like how she started her whole journey at protecting, her village, avenging Lycius. Like, she knows that you can become a crazy person.
And she's probably struggling with that feeling now. She wants to avenge these Amazons who are being killed. And
maybe. I don't know how she feels about Amazons. She's already killed so many of them.
She was really sad about Quintier, okay?
I mean, yeah. And then also I thought about her vendetta against Caesar. She was never satisfied, and it also cost a lot of lives, like in a good day.
And it cost Gabrielle's innocence originally.
Yeah. So then Xena kind of, starts talking about Gabs, and she's like, you did the right thing, not condemning Varia. And then she's like, now you have to go rally the troops.
Yeah. I feel like this is an interesting moment in the conversation because you feel like the subtext is, you've been saying some dark shit, Gabs. Mm-hmm. You were saying dark shit with Varia. You were saying dark shit earlier about the wounded. Are you okay? I feel like she's just feeling it out, like trying to give her that reality check moment of like, is everything okay mentally? And I like Gabs' answer, which is she sort of says, well, I can't be Gabs right now. I'm the queen of the Amazons.
It's like that, the Taylor Swift. Yeah. She's dead.
Can't come to the phone, okay?
Which is so interesting because, like, I don't know. You wouldn't think that she'd be sitting around asking her if she was okay. Like, she wasn't doing that in a good day, It's
I think it's a sign of how much Xena has learned from Gabs. Gabs would always sit with Xena and be like, are you okay? I could tell you're struggling with something. I feel like this is very much like Xena being the one with the empathy.
I guess, but it's different because Gabs doesn't know how to be that person that Xena is, a leader of, who constantly sends people to their death, who knows what to do, who kills so many people. So, like, that's why Gabs is always, like, sitting around, like, asking her, like, are you okay? Like, is this da-da-da-da? But, like, Xena knows exactly what is happening.
She knows she's not okay, which is why she's asking. Yeah, she knows exactly what's going through her mind, I think. Though maybe not the part about being queen of the Amazons. That's a certain responsibility that Xena doesn't quite understand.
Yeah. I like that she's like, that's who I am, whether I like it or not, which is, if you trace it all the way back to how she just...
is an absentee ruler.
Well, that too. that too, but
only Skypes it in, usually.
No, but I was going to say that, like, the reason she's Amazon Queen was, like, a selfless act that she performed on a person she saw shot with arrows.
Yes.
Like, she never asked to be...
she certainly never asked to do this. And in fact, at multiple instances has asked to not do this. So...
But it's just interesting that, her little reflex of protecting a human life ultimately... in season 6 leads to
sacrificing human lives. I mean, in the name of protecting everybody. Yeah. Gabs' journey is really hard. It's hard to see her in this situation. Like, all through the episode, my feeling is, like, even though I feel like every like decision she makes, I understand why. Like, they all hurt. They all feel like, wasn't there some other way?
Yeah.
Like, even now as we sit here discussing
there is another
tactics,
way. There's always another way.
Why can't they just get out of there? Why are they still trying to, like, take the fight to Bellerophon? Like, well, I guess they do end up luring him into a trap, but, like, can't they do that? Like, No,
I get it, but it's just like...
Go back to Amazon territory and lure him into a trap.
Do you think that that's missing from this episode? That they just immediately go to a war scenario, like that there's in other episodes of Xena that aren't as dire, they might have been able to figure out something else, but this hops right to like the last option, which is going to war, instead of thinking of something else.
Well, I'm not complaining about the war part because they did such a phenomenal job.
I know.
I'm complaining about the part that I think it's really... I think that's the problem for me personally is that literally Xena is there and she would handle the whole situation in like a whatever Xena way, and therefore like it's weird having Gabs go through these whole like issues with Xena just sitting there when like she shouldn't be... Xena would be handling.
Do you
this.
think she's not contributing Xena in some, like, that she's just
has
all these ideas?
Like,
I feel like if she did have some kind of
she's not contributing
Xena-esque plan, that she would be jumping around frustrated, going like, I'm gonna do my thing, I'm gonna do it anyway. I think
it would be more believable to me if Xena was literally busy the whole time, like if they had to command like two flanks and like Gabs had her own and Xena had her own.
If it were more of a shared responsibility.
Yeah, and therefore you would see Gabs going through these things.
I get that point, because there are these moments in the episode where I kind of go like, why didn't Xena stop that from happening?
Right.
Like the thing that just went down with Varia. Like why didn't Xena go, why are they having a little like quiet conversation about...
She was busy making the little raft for the wounded.
She was.
And then she literally was like, Gabrielle, where are you?
That's like
where
the second time this episode. Her
Phew.
Yeah, exactly.
I accept that. Okay, so that's a pretty good reason. Xena can't be everywhere at once, okay?
I know, but I'm just saying that, like, I think it would have...
I mean, it's so important here that this is Gabrielle's responsibility. The Amazons are her responsibility. And as much as Xena, I think, would love to be that person who just comes in and takes charge, as we've said, like, she isn't. Like,
it's just stupid because she's the most competent person there, and they should really let her lead.
But, like, what I'm asking is, do you think she, in her taking, like, a backseat in this scenario, that she's gonna let her make a bad decision and go through with it?
I don't think she ever makes a bad decision.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
She doesn't.
She just
it's the ultimate test day. It's exam day.
Hard decisions.
Like, I don't think that Xena's not doing anything.
Yeah.
That she, like, I think
and Xena does step in anytime she thinks Gabs is actually going too far.
I know. But like I said, I think that it would have been even more amazing if you had like two different type of fronts. They could have really done the Pacific and the European front with one of them and the other one. It would have been really great.
I do think, though, that, for the drams, having Xena there by Gabrielle's side, kind of being the Gabrielle of old, that moral center. Like, it's really interesting to see her in that role.
Whatever. Anyway, let's discuss this next scene, because this is the Pacific theater here.
Yep.
We've left
the
liberation
Normandy.
of Europe from the Nazis, and now we're going to check in with our forces fighting Imperial Japan
covered all of World War II
in the Pacific. It's amazing. So how are things over here? Not great, because there are sharks.
Oh my god.
Sharks. Vera, didn't you read a great factoid?
Yeah, there was a factoid on IMDb trivia that just basically said the only time sharks appear in the show are here. And then we were like, what about Shark Island?
It's called...
Yeah. Well, there were sharks, we never saw them.
The sharks were referenced, but not seen.
Never seen.
Maybe Shark Island is like right there next to it. It's like they share the same
Helicon
coast.
and Shark Island.
Yeah. So what's going on here? We've gone from Saving Private Ryan to USS Indianapolis, starring
yeah, we're only making
Nicolas
movie
Cage.
references.
No, it's Jaws.
Well, I think
Jaws.
Zena is only making movies.
I'm just saying I want to be clear that all of our references are to movies that are based on real events.
I mean, this is a real event.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Let's
I want
do
like
this,
our
Katie.
jaunty excitement is about like Jaws.
That's true. Not about the USS actual Indianapolis.
Yeah,
USS
it's horrible.
Indianapolis. That's
it's
what
horrible.
I'm trying to express. The greatest scene in cinema history is Jaws. Many scenes. Just Jaws. Just the movie Jaws.
Jaws is the greatest scene in cinema
Also
history.
Spielberg. So
also Spielberg.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
To jump 20-ish years earlier
Spielberg
in his
loves
career.
Space and World War II.
Or
no, that's Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks loves...
Which of those is sharks?
I can't get through this scene. Oh my god.
Sorry.
No. I just can't get through this particular scene without like busting out some of
You shouldn't.
Quint's
this is
speech
clearly important to do.
About that horrible event. Yes. I can't do the whole speech. It's long.
Okay, but do the part about the sharks.
I mean, the whole thing is about sharks.
It's
like
Jaws, Vera.
Like these, like the you know, the black eyes,
like a doll's eyes.
So yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Quint is a survivor of the USS Indianapolis, which was a ship in the Pacific in World War II that was hit, and all the soldiers had to abandon ship. And I mean, the sailors
for like days.
People,
right?
Yeah, and this is horrific because they were all eaten by sharks. Not all, but most.
Like,
yeah, this is a true unfortunate disaster that happened. Yeah, which is like so terrible.
1,000 people. He said 306.
Yeah, survived. Like, it's like so effed up,
including Quint.
Oh, but then, oh my god, don't even get me started. The most
Jaws
frustrating
thing.
Jaws
spoilers.
Ever.
Anyway, it's like the greatest. So that whole scene is like it's like the scene where they're comparing the scars and stuff.
Yeah,
he does that whole speech.
They sing.
What?
They sing that song.
No, but the end of that speech, like he has the whole horrifying like thing about the sharks. It's like minutes long, and then it ends and he goes, "Anyway, we delivered the bomb." And that's just like, you're like, holy shit. Like the whole, I don't know, it's just like the greatest thing.
That's true. As a tag for a speech, that's pretty incredible.
Jaws, hooray!
Yeah,
sharks.
But I do love that they visit both kind of war theaters,
and that's clearly they're clearly referencing.
Yeah, it's
the
for
Indianapolis
sure.
With
it's
100%.
Yeah. But also the fact that like you can't get away with Jaws because that part of Jaws is so memorable, and Jaws itself is so memorable. You already have the shots from underwater of the people swimming, the legs.
You see the legs going.
You have the shark going. Like it's all there. So how do we, stop the sharks from eating our girls? Gabs knows what to do.
She just starts I feel like you don't, unlike some of Gabs's other hard decisions, you don't even get the hesitation here.
Yeah.
Gabs immediately is just like, okay, Gwyntier,
it's your time to shine, girl.
Gonna float you off this way.
So this is an interesting thing, right? So they've been floating their wounded with them on these rafts, and so she says, "Travel safe, sister," pushes Gwyntier off and shoves her in the way of the shark. She puts her face down in the water, and I thought Gwyntier was still alive. And I was like,
I did too.
She
because why are they're just
they're trying to take them, but she dies.
Burial.
Supposedly, according to Liz or Vanessa, the writers of this episode, Gwyntier is dead. So that's whatever.
Okay.
She died, like, whatever, on the way there.
In the process.
I thought that Gab specifically flipped her over to drown her before getting sharked.
Oh, my God.
Because I was like, oh, look at her. She's, like, trying to prevent her from being, like, killed by the shark.
That's
like, she's
very dark.
letting her just drown first.
That is dark.
I like mine way better.
Wow.
I kind of like your way better, too. I mean, it seems odd to me that they would go to the trouble of building these rafts to transport.
Well, this is where we were like...
She died already on the raft.
Yeah, but this is where we were like, Xena and Varia already thought about how they were going to use the...
I certainly like that theory, yeah, that like as a shark deterrent, yeah.
Yeah, for sure, because like...
Wow.
No. Yeah. I did not know what that moment was.
That's a lot. This is a lot to wrap my head around.
It's amazing. So Gabs is like...
Did Gabs drown a woman, or did Xena and Varia plot to feed wounded women to
definitely
sharks?
did.
Like, I think she checked that she was like dead already. I think that's
doesn't matter. She was still going to give her... out of anyone, they were going to give her Gwyntier. So amazing acting here from Renee.
I love the writing here too.
Yes,
she
absolutely.
And says, "Is that honorable?"
Yeah, and then she's like, "I don't think so."
Yeah.
She doesn't think that was honorable, but I think it totally was, and so does Xena.
Yeah.
So,
travel safely, sister.
Yeah, because Xena asked her like, "Would you have done the same thing? Like, would you
would you
her
have died
place?"
for her?
Yeah, and she's like, "Yeah." And then Xena's like, "Absolutely, this was honorable."
Yeah. If you ask, if you're willing to die for people, you can't complain when people die for you.
Yeah. So they swim on. And the next day, we're on the shores.
It seems
having
important
a
to
breather.
me, and maybe this is a put a pin in it, but when Xena says you set her spirit at peace to Gabs.
You sent her spirit. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It felt...
There's another...
I mean, that's going to be significant in that message to Gabs is going to inform Gabs' speech coming up. So yeah, definitely the fact that those are the terms in which Xena puts this.
Nice.
Like you sacrificed someone, but you set their spirit at peace.
Well, this is her big speech. Gabs gives this like rousing speech to the troops.
This is, they referred to it in the writing process as the Patton speech.
Right.
Apparently Liz Friedman loves Patton.
Okay, yeah, Patton. We forgot to mention that was another war influence.
I think we've officially covered all the war films.
All the famous
World
War II ones. Yeah. Some of them.
So many. I think the original draft had a speech that was much more like,
rah, rah.
Our sisters died. We gotta avenge them.
Yeah. Kill, like yelling.
Kill Bellerophon.
Yeah, the one that's Patton-y.
Yeah.
Patton-esque. I thought this was a perfect Gabrielle speech.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like it worked for the character Gabrielle.
And you said that was actually addressed before they filmed, right?
Renee felt that the original version was not in character.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that means Renee wrote this or if somebody...
Yeah, or did they rewrite a lot of the speech, or did they rewrite some of it with the delivery cues changed of maybe it was in there that it was rah Patton speech. Maybe. And she's like, no.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess I can see how you could deliver some of those lines in a more come on everyone.
I feel like they must have switched some lines.
I just don't know how much.
Because it's softer for sure.
Rewritten.
And it sounds like Liz Friedman was not actually happy with,
she wanted
the
that
version
rah,
as filmed.
That's interesting. I disagree then. I don't know that I want the rah.
I don't think it makes... It's not in character.
It's
not in character at all. This is perfectly in character.
That she would be putting it... I get the concept that maybe she was going for, Liz Friedman, that it was her putting on the role in a way, and that was part of it, that it wasn't in character, and that's part of it, because she turns around and has already said this isn't me, so that's part of it to and it's supposed to be jarring in that capacity, but I actually think it's better this way
because it is her, and that's what she should be.
In a way that's more disturbing.
I agree.
She inspires them,
but
she doesn't inspire them in a ridiculous
her
way.
Yeah. This that's the thing though. This is her now. We're 5 episodes away from the end of this show, right? Part of her journey is becoming a person who is capable of being in this position, who makes these decisions, and part of her ability to be in it is to have this kind of reaction, this like, I really hate this, like, and have this very intense like moral like reaction and responsibility to it because she's a different kind of warrior.
Yeah.
Right.
She's so aware of it as a manipulation, which I guess someone like Patton would be too, but she, like, you know, it pains her. Mm-hmm. It isn't something she can just leap into being like, do it!
I already have, like, I'm just going to say right now, I hate the references to Patton because Patton has been associated with Caesar, like,
right,
canonically in the show. And, like, you cannot put Caesar and Gabrielle in the same sentence.
Sure, yeah.
Not the same. And, like, so it's just not even, like, the general that you would want to emulate here at all. I just love that she's her own kind of leader here. I thought the speech was very sensitive.
I thought
and
so,
also and rousing in like this sensitive way, not in a rara way, which makes perfect like
that's who
sense
is.
With the character. Yeah.
And you do feel like the speech is trying to be honest, like, to what she's going through herself as their leader.
Exactly.
This is what she herself feels.
You get that. You get that that's
she
true
wants to
feelings
grasp
from
those
her.
hands and feel like she did the right thing for those women.
So this is why it's perfect. So I don't even think she's putting on any kind of, you know, fake airs here. Let's talk about a little bit.
Xena's face.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about Xena's face.
The reaction shots throughout.
Yeah. She's just sitting in a bush. Like,
she's definitely sitting in a bush, but she has very, very good, like, sad face reaction shots to listening to the speech, and then also the, like, moments that they chose to put Xena's face in are very particular.
I definitely thought about the finale here,
There's
too.
a specific part.
There's a specific one, yeah.
Do you have that line?
I believe it's
afterlife?
Death is a pathway to an afterlife, and when it is my time to join them, I want to know that I can grasp them by the hands. I believe in that when it is my time to join them.
That's on Xena.
They definitely put it on Xena.
Yeah.
So I mean, on the one hand, that might be Xena wrestling with fear of the loss of Gabs, but
I think it could be all of it.
It's all of it. It's definitely all of it.
She says a lot of...
Yeah, she says another thing that we got to draw attention to.
Let's do it.
Which is, you know...
the Amazon nation will live on forever.
That one. Thank you, Vera. That's exactly the one.
I underlined forever. I'm like, oh.
Many of them will die, but the Amazon nation will live forever.
Oh, boy. I mean, you know, when you think about it in a... kind of legendary way, it has. We're talking about them right now.
That's true.
You know,
they live forever in reputation.
In our stories. Yeah. So that's one thing.
that, you know, to quote Troy, right? That's really immortality to be remembered.
Yeah, I mean, that was all Achilles wanted. Yeah, and he got it.
Oh man, we're just checking off all the war movies.
So I love this other line that she says, which is that she says, that is a duty that we carry, an everlasting honor that we hold. That really just sounded like the honor of a soldier, kind of like you felt the World War II part of that in this, in a normal way, not in a Patton way. Like it felt like that's the greatest generation. Like, you know, they refer to World War II vets as
definitely the word
that.
Duty feels very specific too. Yeah.
Also, at that moment, the camera pans to Varia, and she's...
Yes, that's like, a really... She's kind of sitting by herself, not in a bush.
Not looking at... she
has her back to it.
Yeah, and she's reacting.
Yeah, because she, you know, did she do her duty? Does she have that honor?
So I have a note here that's like, what is going on with Xena's face here? What do we think about her face
in the
journey?
Emotions?
And just during this whole speech. Yeah.
I think she hates that Gabs is giving the speech. I think she dislikes the speech. And
she would have done better? Is that what she's thinking?
No,
she's like, I would have said.
I think it's more, you know, what we're sort of talking about. She can tell that to a certain extent, you know, that Gabs is suffering through this speech. And I think it pains her to see Gabs in this position. You know, we know Xena has given speeches rallying troops to their deaths. I think it must be really painful for her to watch someone else in this in her place, especially Gabs, who's innocent. She's tried to protect all these years. Now finally she's stopped doing that. She's stopped protecting her. She's letting her, embrace her role. And you still see that even though she's made that decision to let Gabs be who Gabs wants to be, that choice is causing Xena a lot of pain.
Well, that carries on to the next scene where Gabs is standing kind of by herself. She has a sword. She's like running her fingers on the blade, and Xena comes to talk to her. This totally reminded me of Return of Callisto.
Yes, that's great. That is, oh man, I want the side-by-side gifs for that. Yeah.
Xena wants to comfort her here.
Yeah,
and
Gabs, here she explicitly asks if she's okay.
Yeah, and Gabs is like, don't try to make me feel better.
Yeah, I feel like this is such a moment and such a, again, I feel like so much role reversal, because I feel like Gabs has definitely done the "Are you okay?" and gotten Xena biting back at her. Like, this is not the time for soft touches.
But this is where she's like, "Oh, I have to be as cold and ruthless as I need to be," and it's like, you weren't cold and ruthless in that speech at all.
Yeah.
Like, you were. So you feel that's clearly, that was from the previous draft. Like, 100%.
In her mind,
that was cold.
Was not cold.
She says, "As cold and ruthless as I can be." That's as much as she can go. That's it. The sweet, sensitive speech.
Yeah.
Everybody is crying.
Ooh. And acting
it's
so
amazingly. Good the way they play off each other, like, oh shit.
Yeah. And Xena makes this like really cute face at one point.
Yeah. They're crying. Help. Yeah. Oh no.
And it feels a little bit like, at this point Gabs has gone beyond. She's gone so far now that Xena can't comfort her, that she doesn't want that from Xena, and that's hard for both characters, because that's such a part of their relationship, is being able to comfort each other in these moments.
And there's a shot of Varia, who has watched this whole scene, and this is like a silent kind of reaction from her, which is interesting too.
Janina does really well, I think. Yeah. I really like her performance, especially kind of after all the shit goes down. Like, when she's just this silent person.
Yeah, like, what do you think was going on with her face there?
I think she is just full of regrets.
I'm wondering if she was like partially being like, I'm glad I'm not in this position.
I think so. I think there is some of that. She would not want to be doing what Gabs is doing. I think she knows she couldn't do what Gabs is doing. And in that sense, she really appreciates what Gabs is doing.
Yeah, this is such a great inclusion of such character moments, because in a war film, you totally get that character too.
It totally reminds me of how Michael Hurst was so good at getting all the wives their reaction shots in Gurkhan. He's really good at these huge group scenes, never forgetting about anyone, making sure everybody's storyline is still present, and that you as the audience register everything that's happening.
So they want to end this once and for all. Xena rides up to the fortress and she bellows, "Bellerophon!" And the door opens and out slinks Bellerophon, she's sliding down that door frame.
It is so funny. I have never seen so much leaning. Does that man's spine work? Can he stand upright? Is he okay?
Yeah. So he's, you could really see the guy liner in this scene because he's in the sun. Mm-hmm. And his outfit is just glorious. We already talked about it, but I'm just in love with it. Anyway, they fight.
Yeah, she basically, goads him into another one-on-one.
Right, and he's a cocky little bitch, so he's all like, "I've beaten you before, blah, blah, blah." And she's like, blah. And they fight. And, every time he beats her up, you get her kind of, turning to the camera and being like, "Oh, I'm putting on airs here."
Yeah. You didn't like this, Vera, I could tell. You hate when Xena gets beaten up, and then, because it's her choice.
Yeah, it makes us aware that it's her choice.
Just those,
So, but then he does this amazing thing, which is give her giant slashes on the arms.
He goes the shoulders. Both sexy arm wounds.
Yeah,
2 sides.
And she gets a lip injury here that we mentioned. And there's a blood drip on her chin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the kinds of blood we like.
Yeah, and so she's so beat up. She goes has to run away.
These little noises.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, I can't."
She kind of massages her arm.
I know. She can't lift her sword. Busted. Oh no! And she jumps on her horse and rides away. And then he's like, a horse to his men. He's like, a horse! And Liv, you had a thought about this moment.
I thought this might just be a little dose of Shakespeare, because Michael Hurst loves his Shakespeare. Some Richard III, a horse, my kingdom for a horse. I don't know why that's there. It doesn't necessarily make sense as a reference.
Why not?
But
Bellerophon has been screaming for things this whole episode. Like, I forget what he screamed for before, but he screamed for catapults. He screamed for the horse.
Vengeance.
Yeah.
Guyliner. Scarf.
Yeah, scarf. Give me my scarf.
In that Richard III scene with a horse, he's like really impotent. Like you get the sense that it's this sort of just like wail of frustration that like things are not going his way. So in a way, you already begin to see that kind of energy for Bellerophon here.
But also, I think he was like wanting to be really cool about it, you know, being like a horse, so that you could quickly just slink onto it and ride off.
So he just wanted one to lean against.
Yeah. So he and his men ride after Xena, and they find her kind of waiting for them in the middle of the woods.
We realize that her horse is Argo.
Whatever.
I was so confused to suddenly see Argo
here. Sure. You're not supposed to think about it anymore.
Yeah. Look good.
Because it doesn't really make any sense.
Argo's looking pretty.
Yeah. It's a trap.
It's so obviously a trap, too, that you're like, Bellerophon.
Yeah. Well, he's so cocky that he wasn't thinking about it.
And she, of course, I think, knows that she can get to him through his arrogance.
Yeah.
He's easy to manipulate. You've been wishing, like, before we were saying, what could Xena have done in this situation, you know, that Gabs isn't doing, luring Bellerophon into a trap via his arrogance. Stupidity, is exactly the kind of thing Xena would do.
So she whistles. By the way, she wiped off her chin, the blood chin thing. It's now just the cut on the lip.
This is where she has her line, too, right? She's like, it wasn't fear you saw in my eyes before. It was disgust.
Oh, boy.
Oy, oy, oy.
So, yeah, she whistles and all the Amazons attacks. We got the typical, like, from the trees Amazons. We got the hidden, buried ones.
It's so striking because, you know, this is how we're used to seeing Amazons. Yeah. Like, this is how they fight. This is why they're so successful, is they do these stealth moves. Like, seeing them just, like, charging up a beach and getting cut down.
Right.
Like,
so
different.
Are we now doing, like, Vietnam War imagery?
I think they're guerrilla tactics.
Yeah, you said while we were watching this,
been.
you think that they're more successful as guerrilla.
Yeah, we've never seen them just, like, you know, charge up to someone in battle. That's not really the Amazon way. No. That's why they live in the forest and kind of, you know, defend their territory. So seeing them leave their territory, go on this beach, like everything we've basically seen the Amazons do this episode is not what we typically see of them, and we see how terribly it works out for them.
Well, all our Amazon heroes get their, you know, hero shots. You have, like, Cyan with arrowing dudes. You have Varya kicking. Tyro's up to something there. Gabs versus multiple guys.
Oh, yeah, Gabs has a lot of great battle shots here. She's has the sai. She's got a sword. It's great.
And then you have Xena versus Bellerophon.
On horseback.
Yeah, they're mounted, so that's really cool. And then they do that thing where they circle each other and, like, try to fight.
I like the stunt where I assume it's Zoe, like, pulls his stunty, like, off the horse, like, kind of onto her horse, and then they both fall off.
Oh, nice.
It was a very cool move.
Yeah, so now they're fighting on the ground. Xena, like, implores him to, you know, walk away from the situation, basically.
Not only that, she invokes Gabrielle's line about the cycle of violence. Yeah. So I think she calls it something else. The circle of violence.
The chakra of violence.
It's a slightly different way of describing it to him. The cycle of killing.
Oh, okay.
What she said. Yeah. And she, like, goes through it, which I appreciated. She says, I killed your mom to protect my daughter.
Yeah.
Then you're trying to kill the Amazons because I killed your mom. And it's just, you know, it's, again, that sort of Greek idea of once you've committed an act of violence, it's going to snowball. Everybody's going to be seeking vengeance forever.
But he's not into that because he's a cocky bitch at the very end.
He believes in his demigod status.
Yeah, he says that he cannot be killed.
He thinks he can't be killed.
Yeah, but then Xena's other solution to the stopping him is to kill him, which is to just
add to the cycle of violence.
Yeah. Do you guys think he's sympathetic?
I like him. I mean, I get him, and I don't mind his crazy vendetta, because I get that it's,
it would be
for
more
his mother.
Sympathetic than Magathon.
That's what I mean. Like, out of all those dudes who have been able to hit Xena, like, there's only a few people on the show, remember, out of all of the previous ones, like, this is the only one that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And, like, certainly Magathon, like, I hate him so much. He's, like, the worst, maybe, because he's, like...
Because his real name is Prince Chesnick.
Bloody fuck. No, but he's like, dude, this guy's a demigod. At least, like, you get it, or whatever. And he's just, like, an interesting, like... trust fund boy, like, it's fascinating.
It is. It is I'll request that 5-episode arc.
Yeah, I really wish that this was, and then of course that Artemis was set up better.
Yes.
Like,
lots of things would like.
But yeah, out of all these guys, he's the most interesting. I get him, and
I appreciate that Xena gives him this offer, even though it's obvious he won't take it.
Yeah, and I think that's where you get some character moments for him. Like, that's a character moment that he knows that he won't take it, and he knows that he's going to charge at her, and that she kills him. Mm-hmm. Like, that's it. He knew this would
if he's going to go out, that's how he should go out. Yeah.
So she has a line about that whole thing where he says he can't be killed because he's half god, and she's like, you forget you're half mortal too. So she slices him in the guts. And he falls over, and then I'm like, she should go and kill Hercules now. He's half got to.
I guess this is meant to be like Dark Hercules. That's the idea. He's a demigod. He's
Dark Hercules.
He's avenging something.
Well, there was that was an episode of Young Hercules, right? Because there was another demigod played by Clive Parker.
Right.
Shut up.
Written by the same writing pair.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah. So, and he was supposed to be like the anti-Hercules over there.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of that. That's maybe why it works so well, is you have that same sense that this could be someone who really can challenge Xena.
So she's like, it didn't have to end this way. And then he says, oh, yes, it did. He falls over dead. He has this, like, bloody mouth.
And we get, like, a kind of a push out from his dead eyes.
Yeah, so that's, I think, I mean, that could be many things, but it is a reference to Saving Private Ryan, because there's a lot of, like, zoom-ins on eyes in that one for, like, multiple reasons. But here it's, like, a zoom out. So, yeah. I thought it was going to go over, like a crane out to show, like, the battlefield of, like, all the dead people. But no, it didn't do that. It just showed Xena. She's watching the rest of the battle, which is, like, all the girls. There's no dead Amazons in this scene. It's only the dead dudes
on the ground. Yeah.
They really get, the upper hand here. And Gabs, watches Gabs chase one off. Like, a guy was super scared, and he's running away for his life. And Gabs is, like, on his ass.
Gabs is getting vengeance. Yeah. I think it's interesting, having just had this conversation about vengeance and the cycle of killing.
Right, exactly.
Here's Gabs, who is trapped in the cycle.
Yeah, and she runs after him. She honestly has, like, the upper hand. She raises the sword to kill him, and Xena pulls a Gabs and says, Gabrielle, to stop her.
She pulls her back from the edge of doing something really terrible.
Yeah. Yep. She says it's over. And
the music here is beautiful. Yeah. I haven't liked the music through the rest of the scene.
Right, there was a lot of, like, optimistic, jaunty music that reminded me of the Beaver Dam.
I think it might even be the same track, Beaver Dam track.
From the Abyss?
No, that was even jauntier.
Even jauntier.
Okay. Well, that was an episode where Gabs, kills dudes.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I mean, definitely this is the extension of her, violence arc. We thought it was done in the Abyss, but it was not done. And yeah, I don't really care for that music, but I love the choral music when we see Gabs suddenly realize what she was about to do and where her head's been at.
half her face has like a blood splatter or spatter, whichever one it is. I forget the correct term. Ooh. But it's all like...
I didn't know there was a difference. That's cool.
There's a difference between blood splatter and blood spatter. I don't... It's like a technical CSI term, I think. I don't know.
I bet Michael Hurst could tell you the difference. It's on brand for him to know.
But that's an interesting point, that she's just kind of like super bloodied.
Yeah.
Like in a I've been killing kind of way.
And that it's only half of her.
Yes. Interesting.
What does it mean?
She lowers the sword, and the rest of the men, they run away.
Yeah,
so
she lets them go.
Yeah.
And then Gabs kind of returns to Xena in this trance almost.
Yeah.
I really loved the acting here. This just sort of glassy-eyed thing that Renee is doing.
It's like, Varia stumbling over a boat.
It is a little. Yeah. There is a visual parallel there. Yeah, except Gabs isn't blindfolded. But she is.
So Xena tells her, it's over, you've won. And she says, I don't think I did. With each battle, I lose more of myself. Yeah. And Xena says, war's tough on the soul, Gabrielle. Which is a great line.
Yeah. Really powerful. Really, but basically says it all. Mm-hmm. And I love Gabrielle's little soft voice, yeah. What else can you say? Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no.
Cyan walks up and says, Queen Gabrielle, ... And Xena tells Gabs to go. Your people need you.
That's very sweet. In a way, she's sort of saying, don't freak out. You don't have time for this, and you don't have time for me. Like, go. The only way to recover from this is to go and take on the responsibility again. Be the good leader.
We have the wide shot reveal finally to show you all the dead bodies. It's the dudes. And that's kind of takes us to our last scene, which is the bookend recreation of the beginning. The
really nice.
Bicep off.
I really love the elegance of that, having the same action that began the episode. So this time the bicep off is not about tension at all.
Yeah.
This is a moment, I think, where these two finally come together.
Yeah.
In like you say, Varia really understands and appreciates Gabs now.
Yep. Gabs to camera says to a strong Amazon nation.
Looking right at us.
That was an interesting choice.
Yeah. Why do you think? Confrontational?
I don't know. I'm not sure what that meant. Just
is it
to hammer in the point, or like, you people remember us?
I guess so. Thing. Yeah, she knows there is no strong Amazon nation now, but in the future, in your minds, audience, I see you.
Sure. I mean, they repeat it, 3 times.
Everybody repeats it.
And Xena says it at the last time,
and very solemnly.
Yeah, and this is where you get the crane out of that moment to reveal that there are 12 of them,
except for the ones back home.
Sure, all the ones who are lawyers and everything. They're just sitting back home and on the papers.
But that's it. That is the strong Amazon nation. This little ragtag.
But if anything, they killed all their best warriors.
Yeah,
so if somebody attacks the lawyers,
and all the queens of the various nations have been killed, defeated, except for Cyan.
Cyan, I think. Varia, well, if she's no longer queen, but who knows?
We don't know what's gonna. Do you think she'll be reinstated? It is quite.
Probably, what? Cyan might take over. Maybe as queen.
Maybe she should. I think Varia has not proved.
Varia's gonna go to law school.
Yeah. What about poor Marga, who thought Varia was the future of the Amazons?
Marga's like rolling around in her grave, like, ooh.
Marga's like, well, I guess I screwed up because the Amazons have no future. Yeah. So one more little fact about this. Originally, as scripted, Liz Friedman had pictured this being a rallying moment where they were triumphant. They defeated Bellerophon, so they would go to a strong Amazon nation.
Oh my gosh!
And I think
she understood that she wrote this. She did write this.
She wrote this. But I guess she really saw it much more as a sort of rah-rah war epic. That and even if it's just a small amount of people at the end, and you can still feel proud.
Feels so antithetical to like
the
Gabrielle's journey.
Yeah.
And just like the concept of a story like this.
And but then they're telling this like really brutal story about the like moral consequences of war.
Yeah.
And what it means for Gabrielle to be a leader in these like violent situations, to have it actually be triumphant seems bizarre.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine, but it shows you the power of good directing, that someone can come in and be like, okay.
What if we play this realistically? Like how the Amazons are gonna be wiped out soon?
Yeah. And it's just so part and parcel of season 6 of this show. Like this is really the last Amazon episode, and it should end on this note. It can't really go off this way. It's everything gets like taken down, like it's, and we'll see again in the next episode, which isn't quite as,
Well, I choose to believe that the real next episode is Last of the Centaurs.
Wait, what's the next one?
It's they put like a little John.
I thought that was
Send
next.
in the clones.
Yeah, they give you a break between the slaughters.
Okay, good. Nice, very nice. Like having the little gaps in between.
Exactly.
But I agree with what you're saying. Yeah. I feel like the Amazons have always been sort of clinging to existence. Like throughout the show, you always have that sense that their like past was always much more glorious than their current state. So this is felt sort of inevitable, and that's what makes it so tragic.
Right.
It's like you're seeing this and you're like, oh God, like nothing any of our faves. Like none of our faves could have prevented this in the end.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so weird. I was just thinking about Gabs. Like I can't in any capacity see her finding glory in any of it or anything triumphant, even if they do win. Like that's like the thing.
Well, that was like Xena's speech in A Good Day, where like that's you can
very
only
similar.
Say, but it was kind of nice, but it was but also at the same time very upsetting when you think about it.
That's the point of
Which
the
of course
show.
seems like the only responsible way to come out of a battle, you know, loss of human life. Should you really be acting like your sports team won? Probably not. Yeah.
The last shot, which was, everybody saying to a strong Amazon nation, the crane up. You see that there's only 12 of them, including Gabs, so it's really 11 because she doesn't really count. It actually ends on this shot of these arrows in the tree.
Yeah, that was intriguing to me.
What did you think that meant?
I mean, I was like, is the tree like the Amazons? Like they're so often associated with trees, so to have the arrows shot into the trees, like basically, the Amazons are dying.
Yeah,
like that's how I saw it.
That's an interesting way. Yeah.
What did you think?
I mean, I think some fandom agrees that I couldn't help but think about like how Xena killed so many of the northern Amazons
by
on the trees.
impaling them on trees. Yeah.
And so she contributed to their loss.
She did. I think she that was a big blow.
A lot.
Yeah.
That. Yeah.
She's like partially responsible for the extinction of the Amazons, basically.
And now is even more responsible because she was a part of this horrible situation that basically should not have occurred. They should not have been on that boat at all.
Because she didn't kill Bellerophon early enough?
But she thought that was a good idea.
She thought the boat... I'm saying, she co-signed the boat.
She didn't know.
So it's her fault, too, for not thinking, maybe this is not the best way to use Amazons, who are best at jumping out of trees.
Yeah, it's true. They're not known sailors. I was like, whose boat is that even? Like, there aren't any, like, sailor Amazons.
Find a boat to hire,
well, that is that episode. I adore this episode.
Very good.
I think it's incredible.
Excellent.
It's beautiful. It's tragic. It's the acting's like out of this world.
Yeah.
War stuff, you guys. Oh my God.
Your favorite genre.
It's about, like I said, like we said in the beginning, this is a tale of war, like the biggest battle they've ever filmed, and it's like all these girls that could have not happened, and I'm so glad it did.
Yeah, I'm glad too.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it that it is a Gabrielle episode.
Yeah.
Seeing Xena in this more kind of supportive role.
Yeah.
I think it brings out the best in Lucy and Renee.
Yeah.
I thought it was just a really smart story to tell at this point in the show. close to the end.
An important story as well. I want to pimp, besides all these movies that we've been discussing throughout the whole thing.
Mostly G.I. Jane.
No, I want to pimp this book series that I read, which it's a alternate history, I suppose, of World War II, where for some reason the U.S. is like cool with ladies joining up.
Ooh!
And so the Frontlines series by Michael Grant. The first one's called Soldier Girls, the second one's called Silver Stars, and the last one's called Purple Hearts. So it goes from, it honestly is like the entire track of America in World War II, so like North Africa through D-Day, and beyond, I suppose.
Pacific?
They don't do the Pacific. It's the European theater. Okay. But it's pretty interesting. The second book's amazing. I had some issues with the third one, but I'm still pimping it. And there's a little novella also that they did that goes with it. I forget what it's called, but also check that out. That's my pimping.
Cool.
To do with ladies at war.
Vera, this was your episode.
I know. I'm like,
Vera's a huge military buff. So
I think
World
there's
War
a lot of
specifically,
of our top 10.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it also is just tying up so many of the threads, in a really nice way. The Amazons have been a part of the show since the first season. So I feel like this is one storyline that just totally works, like from where it started to where it ends. Absolutely. Like I feel like it's a really satisfying, depressing conclusion.
Sorry, I forgot to mention, this is not a movie, but if anyone has never seen Band of Brothers on HBO, fix yourselves. It's like the greatest World War II.
You prefer that to Saving Private Ryan?
Oh my God, yeah, it's so much better. However, actual Matt Damon, Private Ryan that they're saving is part of the 101st Airborne Division, which is the story of
Band of Brothers.
So
I never knew that connection.
And then they also did the Pacific, but it's like not as good. This is Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg because they love World War II
and space
and sharks.
Yeah,
just sharks at one time. I think they like World War II and space way more.
Yeah, way more than sharks. So, this episode, back to it. So good. We love it.
Next week, send in the clothes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good. Wait, what do we got? I'm just looking at the...
Not a lot left.
I'm just trying to think of
episode.
I'm basically like, all right, gaps, moral dilemmas, violence, la la la, and I feel like we're okay. They've got some next time we're going to talk about that. Will be fun.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Pins all around.
Pins.
All right, guys. We've talked enough. Go watch these movies and TV programs, and follow us on all the stuff and things.
We are on the internet, xenowarriorpodcast.com, where you can find links to everything that you could possibly want and need, including links to our social medias. Mm-hmm. We're on Twitter at XenoWarriorPod, Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr XenoWarrior Podcast. You can listen there. You can download there. You can go to Apple Podcasts, where you can subscribe, rate, leave reviews. We are on Patreon, patreon.com/XenoWarrior Podcast.
That's where you can listen to our Lucy Lawless IMDb experiences, where we talk about her comedic roles that we mentioned in this episode.
Yes, and more to come.
Yeah. So, the power.
The passion.
The podcast. To a strong Amazon nation.
To a strong Amazon nation. Wah, wah.